Jesus Christ, is that what my face looks like right now? Yeah, I was gonna do something fun for the 3-year stream anniversary, but I'm too tired. We're gonna focus on the game. We're gonna still have a good time, obviously. Like I said, mentally speaking and physically speaking, I feel good, just fucking exhausted. People don't generally like this case, which, I mean, I see Franziska's face, so we're already off to a good start as far as I'm concerned. Although, there's some people that fucking hate Franziska. Like, whoa, yeah, she is a strong character in terms of, like, I suppose you'll probably either love her or hate her, but wasn't used to those reactions because I had not experienced them firsthand. That's true, Franziska's face was on Big Top. God, well, that just took the wind out of my sails. So you're telling me she's even better in these games than she was in the first trilogy? Interesting. Oh yeah, I'd hate her too if I actually worked her. Whoa! Oh, 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 What about I just not talk for the rest of tonight? How about that? I feel like it's Apollo Justice. I think there's actually a lot of people that do like this game, at least insofar as there are a lot of people that were anticipating me playing this game. But there are also, you know, its detractors. So I feel like, I guess for me, the way I was seeing it was more mixed. Very much, again, like Apollo Justice, which I liked. It was a mixed game, but overall I liked it. The Return of the Great Thief. Oh yeah, oh God, no, I can't do the names right now. Thinking back, everything began on that fateful day 2 days ago. Like 2 years ago, whatever he said, 2 something ago. 2 days earlier. Oh God damn it, how did I get in this situation again? Oh, it was wine. Yes, everything began high up in the air, 9,000 feet in the air to be precise.
Thank you for flying Fly Airlines. We are currently experiencing some slight turbulence. We are asking all passengers to please return to their seats and fasten their seatbelts.
Should have done my captain voice there. Thank you, everyone, for flying Fly Airlines today. We are experiencing some slight turbulence at the moment, and everyone should go and find their seats and make sure their seats are upright and their seatbelts on, and we'll get through this in, you know, just a few moments. Thank you, Captain. Gumshoe will be the protagonist for the rest of this game. He said it was exactly 9,000 to be precise. Dude, it was precisely that round-ass number. I don't believe it. All right, so Edgeworth is dead. This is already the greatest looking plane I have ever seen in my life. First of all, there's an elevator. The biggest plane I've ever been on only had 2 levels, which I thought that was preposterous. But having an elevator seems to imply that there might be more than that. It's like, if there's 2 levels, why wouldn't you just have stairs? I guess for the handicap, that would make sense. There are 2 statues in there for some reason. That seems like unnecessary weight. That bar is super fucking cool. There's a piano. I didn't even notice that. The wine's over here. Isn't this the bottle up here? Or maybe multiple bottles fell? Because otherwise, that's a hell of a distance for that splash to have happened. Yeah, most of the Gumshoe game, it would be very short because his rolls kind of happen in bursts, right? And then the defenses do the rest of it. It would have to be a game where, like, he left the force to form his own private detective agency. That would actually be pretty cool. And he, like, does it in concert with Maggie. So they're like, Maggie would be his... Oh, that would be awesome. Tell me that wouldn't be a great game. A Franziska von Karma game? I'd play that. Unless you meant Manfred von Karma game, in which case, be the evil guy. Oh my goodness. Like, in the game, you have to plant and fabricate evidence as one of the game mechanics. Ace Judge. Problem is that they'd have you
be a character that is far from what anybody would call an ace. It would be an interesting game. I would just hate being that particular judge. But like being put in the judge's position in one of these games would be very interesting. I think we all agree on that. My head. Oh, there's the other bottle. Okay. Doy. Well, I feel like I just woke up from a horrible nightmare. 6:13, huh? Guess I was out cold for about 10 minutes. Slight turbulence indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently experiencing some slight turbulence. For your safety, we ask that you return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
I suppose turbulence is to be expected on a flight. Though admittedly, I'm less than comfortable with anything resembling earthquakes. God damn it. I'm always dropping my wallet. Never mind, this isn't my wallet. A travel wallet, but it's not mine. How did someone else's travel wallet wind up in my pocket? Ugh, my head. Why won't this headache go away? I'll take care of this travel wallet later, or hand it off to an attendant. Ugh, from earthquake-like turbulence to an elevator. Did he not notice that before? It's huge. Or is it just like he remembered that it was there? Yeah, I'll learn not to drink so much. Ugh. All right, Miles, keep it together here. It's just an elevator. No one else saw you panic. We're all good. What am I doing hesitating like this? Actually, I know full well why I hesitate. It was when I was still but a young child. Just as a reminder, in case you did not play any of the prior games, this could be your first Ace Attorney game. But anyways, how long am I going to let my past haunt me? It's just an elevator. I'm a grown-ass man now. I need to behave like one. I wear a suit. Alrighty then, was not expecting to see a dead body as I opened the door. What in the world happened?
Is there something wrong, sir? I must ask that you please return to your seat. He's dead!
Please calm down. We mustn't jump to conclusions without all the facts, because otherwise that would probably lead you to believe that I did it. Did something happen? You murderer! No! You have it all wrong. It wasn't me.
They caught me in the elevator.
It wasn't me. They caught me in my office. It wasn't me. They caught me in the park boat. It wasn't me. I guess there hasn't been a fourth accusation, but yeah, those are the three. I do have an alibi, Your Honor. I was piss drunk and passed out. No, that alibi would not hold up in court. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's the judge, I too have been pissed drunk and blacked out. I believe you entirely.
Everyone, I am sorry to interrupt, but I have an important announcement. Somebody's dead! Ah! I am one of your flight attendants today, Rhoda Tenero.
Hold up. What the fuck am I looking at? Everybody has like, what, 25 square feet dedicated to themselves? This airplane is so, like, concerned with your own personal space. I couldn't even sit next to my wife if I wanted to, because it's just the one chair. Closest we could be is across the aisle. That dude is feasting right now. He has, looks like a bowl of rice and something. Another plate with a knife and a fork, and then the other plate up there. Plus, it looks like he's drank a lot of bottles of alcohol. Like, seriously, if he's not drinking those, what the fuck are those doing there? Generally, also, you do not want to have the life rafts and all that just out like that. Those hats themselves are fine, but in that color, with that suit, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. This is the best social distancing plane, for real. Yeah, she's pretty. Uniform itself is really stupid, but I do like the scarf. Personally, not a fan of those types of bangs. That's purely just a personal preference thing.
Unfortunately, we have just had a minor accident on this flight.
An accident? Look at this fucking guy. Wait, why is he in his life vest? And why did the fucking mask come down for him but not for the other guy? Best case scenario, he's like this. An accident? Don't treat us like we're stupid. I got a glimpse that it was a murder. You caught a glimpse where? It's not even by you. It looked like it was an entirely different room. What? Murder? What's going on with this flight?
Everyone please calm down. There is no reason to panic, except for the fact that there's a murderer on the loose in this plane. This flight will stay on course and make its scheduled landing. We are still currently in the middle of a rough patch of turbulence, so until we are out of this area of turbulence, I ask that you please remain seated. It's unlikely that anybody will be able to kill you successfully while we keep bouncing around like this in the air.
Someone was killed, right? Everyone was too to kill. Let me off.
Please, there's no need to feel threatened. We have already apprehended the culprit.
Well, why didn't you fucking say that in the first place? Suspect. Yeah, Edward's looking super sus right now. I know she's a flight attendant, but I expect each and every one of you and every person in the world to know exactly what legal phrasing to use in every situation. You all should have that information and knowledge, all of it. You should know everything that I know. 3 years worth of school plus the years of experience. If everyone does not know that stuff, then how are you even a human being?
I ask that everyone please remain calm.
What the heck is he talking about? Why should we remain calm?
My name is Miles Edgeworth, that's why.
Who the fuck is Miles? Well, fuck.
I'm a prosecutor and I assure you I am not the killer.
That's exactly what Red would say, right guys?
My name's Miles Edgeworth and I did not
Kill Purple. Seriously, why would you say? I would think that you probably are the killer. Ha! Being a prosecutor doesn't make you incapable of murder, buddy.
Now you listen here. I am not the killer. I simply found the body.
So you say, however, I am sure that you are the perpetrator of this crime. I swear on my honor as a professional flight attendant, which means absolute dog shit.
Oh, is that right?
I know what I saw. There's even very strong incriminating evidence to back me up.
What kind of incriminating evidence is she talking about? Why don't you say that aloud?
Show me. That's what I would say.
We've already alerted the proper authorities at our destination. Until we land, you will remain in our custody by the powers vested in our captain. I am very sorry, but please understand our situation.
Your situation? I'm more concerned with mine at the direction it's going. I'm not about to just sit idly by while I get accused of murder. Not only that, but it also means that the actual murderer is still on the loose. Miss Tamara, was it?
Yes?
I was wondering if you might give me a chance.
A chance to do what?
A chance to plead my case. And a chance to ask you what you mean by incriminating evidence just now. To accuse a passenger of such a grave crime without allowing him to give a proper defense. Can the professional flight attendant inside of you really call this action righteous for such a transgression?
You have a point.
Does he?
Very well, I'll listen to what you have to say. After all, as a flight attendant, I am fully qualified to be the judge in this situation. But be wary of what you reveal. I'm afraid you'll only look even more sus if your explanation fails to satisfy. I also do not have the time to deal with you all day, so please make it quick.
Seriously? You have, like, as much time as we remain in the air, which who knows how much longer this flight's gonna go on. As you wish.
Good. Very well then. Let's get started.
I know for a fact that I didn't kill that man in the elevator, despite having been allegedly unconscious for 10 minutes. What I don't know is what sort of evidence she has up her sleeve. But I'm certain it doesn't fit with how the crime really occurred.
Damn, we're just going straight into the testimony? Holy shit. My initial thought was that it was her, but that also could just be because she was the first person to have a sprite. She has really pretty eyes. I'm a sucker for brown eyes. In the back you hear, actually, I am a judge and would be qualified to judge this situation. As Edgeworth, I'm like, oh, no, I'm as good as dead. Oh my God, I thought those were speakers, like overhead speakers. That is her actual hair. What? What would you have to do to make your hair look like that? That's not real hair. In my head canon, those are still overhead speakers.
I swear to tell the truth as a professional flight attendant.
Excuse me, you didn't raise your right hand, and because you didn't raise your right hand in the air as you made that oath, it doesn't legally mean shit. Already sus testimony.
Unfortunately for you, Mr. Edgeworth, I am certain that you are the killer. The scene I saw in front of the elevator, it was you standing there with fresh blood dripping off of the murder weapon. So if you would please cooperate, we'll turn you over just as soon as we land.
That's it? That's her evidence?
I don't think you could ask for a more perfect witness testimony. Who rates their own testimony? Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Edgeworth?
Not really. It's hardly perfect when there's a gaping hole in it.
I don't like that look he's giving when he said gaping hole.
Yes? What did you see in front of the elevator? I was just about to tell you, Mr. Edgeworth. Framed by the elevator doors and bathed in the light coming from within. Hold it! The murder weapon dripping with blood? Really now? I swear that was the grisly scene I saw before me. Thank goodness it wasn't a passenger who saw, or there'd be widespread panic by now.
As I recall, you were quite panicked yourself at the time.
Excuse me?
You were scared enough to misread the situation and accuse me of murder.
Nonsense. Professional flight attendants cannot afford to be that flustered. I witnessed the murder scene and am now listening to your defense. All with a smile. Ignore the twitch in my face.
Apparently, you also lie with the smile on your face. He was hit over the head with that thing, right? This cat thing?
Apparently he just had all of his money out and was counting it, because how the fuck would that have gotten so scattered otherwise? There's only one movie? In this 22-hour flight, there is one movie? Am I reading that right? That, and apparently we're gonna eat breakfast at 5:30. If this was during the evening, why would there be, well, drinks at 10 makes sense, but why would there be a meal at 2 a.m., more drinks at 5:30 a.m., the movie at 6, this makes sense in terms of breakfast, more drinks at 11, no lunch, and then dinner here at 5.
Your mistake shines like the silver lining on a dark rain cloud.
I'm going to capture some of that light with evidence.
This is the only thing I had.
Objection!
Miss Tenero. What is with the yelling all of a sudden? Valid question. Force of habit.
Well, it doesn't matter. Miss Tenero, you say you saw the murder weapon dripping with blood, is that correct?
Yes, all that blood. Drip, drip, drip. Just recalling that scene sends a chill down my spine.
Sorry, but your so-called professional flight attendant training has failed you.
What?
I'd like to direct your attention to this. Do you know what this is?
It's a travel wallet, right? But it looks a little big and bulky.
The thing you saw me holding when I discovered the dead body in the elevator was this very travel wallet, Miss Tenero, whatever the fuck your name is.
What impossible!
Now then, do you still think I am the killer? That I killed him with a travel wallet?
But I saw blood dripping from the wallet. I know I did.
As you can see, this wallet is clearly stained. And if you would be so kind as to take a whiff, I think you'd agree it's only grape juice. Fermented alcoholic grape juice.
Then...
Oh, I know it's a running joke. It was Phoenix's favorite drink too. It just doesn't make any, it's a fucking lie. That's right, you mistook grape juice for blood. The murder weapon dripping with blood does not, in fact, exist.
No!
Well, that should clear up that pesky accusation.
Nice. Wait just a sec. That is, I mean, even a wallet could be deadly if it was wrapped around something heavy. I demand that you show me what's inside, please.
She's trembling, and the tacked on please at the end. Sounds like I've got her. There's no need to look inside. Even you can tell from its appearance that it's light.
No, I can't be sure of anything until I see the contents of that wallet for myself.
She's a persistent one. I suppose we have no choice but to see what's inside. Miss Tenero, if you'd be so kind as to open the wallet and check its contents for me.
All right. I usually don't pry into passengers' belongings, but we have no choice here.
Oh, I thought Miss Tenero was doing it. Apparently I'm doing it.
Oh, Virginia!
Hey! Seems like this passport is all that's in there. As you saw, there is nothing but a passport inside. This renders your wallet was the murder weapon argument moot.
Please, hear me out, Mr. Edgeworth.
What is it now?
Well, I was wondering, whose passport is it exactly?
I don't know. If you look at the passport, it generally will have an identification picture and characteristics and names and expiration dates and, well, actually, it should have a lot of information in there. All we have to do is open it up.
Hey, take a look.
Why not? I'm rather curious myself.
Ackby Hicks?
What's the... I'm not picking up the pun.
Ackby Hicks. Generally, passports have a little more information than this. This doesn't have an expiration date, which is weird. Because all passports have expiration dates that I've ever seen. And I see a lot of foreign passports as someone who works in immigration. But I mean, in terms of like the design and stuff, yeah, I mean, that's not uncommon. Although I also thought Borginia, they spoke a different language, so this would all be in their language, not in English. This is
Just as I thought. This travel wallet belonged to Mr. Ackby Hicks, which makes it the victim's property. You stole the victim's wallet, didn't you?
How dare you?
You said it yourself. You claimed to be holding this wallet in your hands when I found you. Perhaps I did misconstrue the wallet for the murder weapon, but it seems that I wasn't wrong about who the culprit is. As you claim, the murder weapon is not the travel wallet. However, it is something you stole from Mr. Hicks after you were done with the vile deed. I find it hard to believe myself, but your motive was very simple. You were out to steal Mr. Hicks' money, weren't you?
So even though I didn't have the murder weapon on me, you still suspect me, I see.
You stood up at the crime scene with the victim's wallet in your hands. How can I turn a blind eye and not suspect you of foul play?
I mean, I would cooperate the same way Edgeworth did if I was accused, though, yes. You think I stole it?
Yes, I'm very sorry to say it, and I wouldn't usually be so rude, but it must be said. I never thought I'd see the day, but here I am calling a passenger a thief. Maybe I should put on a serious face and say it more directly. I believe you removed the wallet from the victim's personage.
God, the second time they use personage in this game, I love it. It really doesn't matter how you phrase it. What I'd like to know is why you think I stole Mr. Hicks' wallet. Hold it! You think I was after his money? Well, where did that cockamamie idea come from? I've never seen that word spelled out before. I've heard it said, but never spelled out. And boy, it looks just as ridiculous as it sounds.
True, you are also a passenger in first class, but I thought something was off about you and those deeply etched lines on your forehead.
They're not lines, they're perfectly normal and a part of my natural face.
What etched lines?
His forehead is literally smooth as a motherfucker.
I don't think I've ever met someone with such terrible countenance on a flight before. And that's when it hit me. You have the face of someone with money trouble.
She really is making a fool of herself pursuing this line of logic. I should spare her and present the piece of evidence that contradicts her testimony. Yeah, the money's all over the ground. So if it was the money, why would I have just left it there? Objection! I wonder if I might get a word in, Miss Tenero?
What is it now?
Miss Tenero, I wonder if you noticed the contradiction within your own testimony.
What are you talking about?
It's simply impossible that the motive for this murder was monetary theft. One glance at the crime scene should have told you that. What about this scene would prove that the motive for the murder was not the money? The money? Take that! If I may direct your attention to the things strewn all over the floor. Ah, that's right. The floor is covered in bills and coinage. By your rationale, these were the very things the killer was after. I think we can assume that the wallet fell during the victim's struggle with his killer. I would think that the killer would have noticed something like money scattering everywhere. Furthermore, as you can see, there was no effort made by the killer to gather the money.
What? The wallet?
Ah, yes, the wallet. You also recall that the only thing in it was Mr. Hicks' passport. You really are insisting that it was a crime based on greed. You're claiming that it was all for an empty travel wallet. Forgive me, please. Hey, what the heck? Are you saying the attendant's wrong? So that guy isn't the killer? Ha, don't believe it, everyone. It's a trick. Will you all please be quiet? Miss Tenero.
Yes?
You lost your cool when you saw the dead body. Plus, the lounge is dark, and looking into the light from the elevator, it's easy to see how you mistook the wallet in my hand for a murder weapon. I take no offense that you thought I was the killer.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Thank you for releasing me. Oh, the Borginian! Here we go.
Squid, tree, fish, man running, man bent over, scissors, leaf, up arrow, man running, water, man bent over, musical note.
Whoa, what is it now? Oh my god. Those are the emojis that all the hip youngsters talk about. I'm a fan of music like this. I like I don't even know what that instrument is, but I really like the way it sounds. Is it a sitar or sitar? Yeah, I've always thought it sounded fantastic though.
Squid, tree, fish, running man, running, elk, Egyptian hieroglyphics, squid, tree, Egyptian hieroglyphics, less detailed, scissors, cobra commander, elk, or goat, yeah, no goat, not elk.
Miss Tonero, if you could please translate, I'd be much obliged.
Yeah, what? Did you just expect her to know?
It sounds like Borginian, but I don't understand any of it. There's another attendant on this flight who...
Boy, I said that he was giving the runabout! And I'm required an interpreter. I speak English as well, see? Do the attendant!
Yes, sir.
I want this person to be under arrest until we arrive at the airport.
Not gonna lie, I'd rock that fit. It is disgusting and I would rock it.
I'm sorry, sir, but what exactly are you hoping for?
What is it you want? I'm pretty talking to the likes of you.
Please, I would like to hear why you would like me to be held under arrest until we land.
You, how dare you try to waste my time?
You're the one who stuck your nose into my affairs.
I'm willing to spend even at least one more second with my precious art. I have no time for other things. I know what you are. I see through you. Insolvent, yes, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it in English.
Well, I'd hope that I don't dissolve in the water, but I don't think that's what you meant.
You're talking about him being poor? Is insolvent specifically lacking liquid assets? I don't have a lot of, like, big guy voices, unfortunately. I suppose I could do that voice with an accent. Oh, that makes more sense. He meant insolent.
I'm sorry, but I don't think I caught your name.
I am Zinc LeBlanc. I'm a very wealthy man.
But, God, that sounds like Edgeworth doing it.
I am a very wealthy man in the Virginia. But I am not an ordinary man. I'm an art dealer. A rich shunner of beauty.
Mr. LeBlanc, what did you mean just now?
Pardon?
When you said that Mr. Edgeworth was giving me the runabout...
I have to explain? Unbelievable. I will say it once and only once. I do not even have a second to waste. Time is money, as they say.
Yes, and yet you continue to blather on.
That was exactly at 6 o'clock.
And what's the significance of that time? At 6, he says.
Wait, you saw him at 6?
Oh, what's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth?
He understands, I see. Mr. Tendant, what time did you discover the body?
Oh, it was a little after that patch of turbulence, so I would say around 6:15.
Ah! Hicks was his name, was it? Did I say that man Hicks was killed in 15 minutes time span?
His hair really is awful. Yikes.
Then the only person is alive at that time was this prosecutor, yes?
Yeah, I was in my seat the whole time. Me too. I was watching the movie and enjoying a fine glass of grape juice.
Actually, now that I look at it, is his hair red? That might be hair. We have fucking Mario down here still eating. Look at that gigantic loaf of bread. That loaf of bread is like half his size. I was still eating, still having to finish, to see? Oh man, that dude is still eating.
Well, that's how an alibi, so you have no problem with them, I suppose? No complaint, I see. Never think a word against it, right?
I have no way of discounting what you have put forth at this point, but it wasn't me.
Oh, so you say. But what do you have? Would you say the evidence?
Mr. Edgeworth, are you really the culprit after all? Mr. LeBlanc, I suppose you are quite certain in what you saw, enough to give testimony?
Of course, I was looking at that man the whole time. He was playing with the annoying little small machine the whole time.
Machine?
Yeah, that's what you call it in English, yes? It was making me crazy with the click, 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 boom!
From that description, it sounds like some sort of small computer. I believe what Mr. LeBlanc is talking about is a cell phone. I have to say that I did see him playing with it quite a bit myself. A simple cell phone, a laptop, or organizer I can see, but that's kind of low budget.
Edgeworth looking down upon the victims.
I think that man should never see his hand. Not a fragment of beauty. All bring to this ugly sound. Anyway, I know what I saw.
Miss Tonero. Yes? I was wondering if I might be granted permission to examine the crime scene. What? You want to examine the crime scene? If you'd grant me a little measure of time, I'm sure I can produce the real culprit.
But I like the sound of that fox in the duck pen. Yes, I think it's how you say it in English.
It's fox guarding the henhouse, and I believe my innocence was proven earlier. If I'm given the chance, I can clear up all the remaining doubts. Miss Tonero, if you wait until we arrive, there's a good chance that some evidence will have been destroyed by then. I understand. Let me see what the captain has to say.
Rude.
Please, Mr. LeBlanc, in an emergency, all decisions are to be made by the captain alone. Now, please wait here while I go ask the captain what to do. I'll be right back.
Well, this is awkward. You're not playing your race. Everything told you I'm doing your investigation, yes?
Of course not.
We will see.
Mr. Edgeworth, you have the captain's permission to investigate the crime scene.
What? Unbelievable.
I'm in your debt, Miss Tenero. However, there's one condition. I am to supervise you. Can you agree to that?
Of course, I see no problem with that stipulation. It's only natural, as I am still a suspect in this case.
Grr.
I take full responsibility and will watch Mr. Edgeworth's every move. I hope this is reassurance enough that there will be no foul play. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, shall we proceed?
I'm to head to the scene of the crime, the first floor lounge.
That fucking... I thought it was a perspective thing at first, but no, that thing is just... Look at this!
Okay, now I feel kind of bad. He actually might just be like 2 feet 5 inches tall. No, being a prosecutor doesn't exempt you from being suspicious.
I mean, that ain't nothing but 2 porterhouses.
But seriously, it's the parfait that's the problem. Look at this thing. One very large parfait, though I could easily finish it all by myself.
Parfait is an iFly original. The iFly parfait. The I comes from I love you, while the fly part comes from flying. And you combine the 2 parts, you get I fly.
I fail to see how the I comes from I love you. This was Mr. Hicks' seat. I don't see the machine Mr. LeBlanc was talking about.
Perhaps in the elevator?
Maybe. We should probably head down to the crime scene now.
Yeah, 6 people total on this flight.
I love that Edgeworth has a sweet tooth. Love me some parfait. Are prosecutors actually allowed to investigate the crime scene? Generally speaking, during the active crime scene, a prosecutor will not have been assigned to the case yet to be able to have investigated an active crime scene. So most of the time they're just getting like pictures and stuff, the documentation. Because a prosecutor isn't going to get assigned to a case until there is a charge brought. In this universe, at least, it's slightly different. Because, like, think about the first case. What's-his-fuck got assigned to the death before anyone was actually charged. That's not entirely true. You don't need a case number for there to be a charge because the prosecutor brings forth the charge. There has to be an open case. There's no open case here yet, right? I mean, there's a case, but not like officially open through police investigation. Generally speaking, no, because the crime scene won't be active anymore. They can go back and look at it, sure, but it's not going to be an active crime scene by the time they get a chance to go look. Does that make sense? Like I said, I'm explaining everything very poorly right now. But yeah, that's all based on the US system. In Japan, obviously, they have a lot more involvement in the actual investigation. No, they can't interrogate. Only police can do that. Or law enforcement, I should say, more generally speaking. If the prosecutor can send interrogatories, no, you're not going to do that in a criminal case. Maybe you can do that in a criminal case. I've never heard of that happening, though. Normally, you only do interrogatories in civil cases. If a prosecutor is talking to a defendant, they have the right to have their lawyer present for any type of interrogation. I guess that's true with the cops, too. But when a prosecutor does it, it's more likely to be like a deposition instead of what you would consider an interrogation. Do we ever get to play as a prosecutor so that we can see how much of a jerk defense attorneys can get? I mean, we're playing as a prosecutor now, but I guess we're never actually interacting with the attorneys, just the suspects involved. I want to thank you for your help back there, Miss Tenero.
It was nothing. You should thank the captain for granting you permission.
Now, anyways, who the fuck was saying her hair is normal without having seen the cardboard boxes she has attached to the back of her head?
And just so everything is perfectly clear, I still don't trust you to that extent. I don't want you to think your standing with me has changed.
I see. I will bear that in mind.
I received an order from the captain earlier. He wanted you to know that we reserve the right to stop your investigation if we feel you are not making progress. And when we do, he asked that you please return to your seat at that time.
So my time runs out at his and his crew's discretion, does it? I have to find a way to discredit Mr. LeBlanc's testimony before time's up. I understand. I don't know why I'm pointing at you, but I understand. By the way, is there any place you can think of where the killer might hide on board?
I don't think so. After every first-class passenger was accounted for at his or her seat, since we only have 6 of them, we made a thorough search of the plane. As for business and economy class, No one can move between those two classes in first class without a staff keycard. We found no record of a keycard being used at all, which means that I have a first-class killer on my hands. At least I know that much for sure. And one other thing, no one else has been allowed near this crime scene since the murder was discovered either.
Now then, let's get started.
But where should we start from?
Let's start with Mr. LeBlanc's statements. The crime occurred between 6 a.m. and 6:15 a.m. During that interval, the only person in the lounge was myself, which would make me the prime suspect. However, since I did not kill Mr. Hicks, it means that the killer was around somewhere. I know this is part of me just feeling loopy from the vaccine, but because I know it was me, the killer had to exist somewhere. Yeah?
If we are to believe what you say is true, then yes.
The first order of business will be to gather information to win your trust. Why are there statues here? A pity that a bronze statue knows not when good drink has been spilt at its feet.
This is a statue of our founder, Mr. Hugo Highfly, who is a big fan of grape juice. I'm sure he would be thrilled if he knew so much grape juice was here at his feet.
Is that a hint of hero worship by the text? Glasses and candles thrown into disarray by the turbulence. It's been a while since I've seen this big of a mess.
It's terribly embarrassing, but I thought it was an earthquake for a second. I frantically started searching for gas valves to shut off.
I guess the shaking of the plane was bad enough to be mistaken for a real earthquake. Not that I would know, since I was unconscious for most of it. These counter windows offer a glimpse of the sky, but these clouds, they tell me nothing.
Mr. Edgeworth, you look like you're talking to the clouds.
Is that so? Then tell me, what do you suppose I said to them?
I don't know, but it looked like a rather one-sided conversation.
The clouds, they tell me nothing. These bottles and glasses must have been broken by the turbulence. There is quite a bit of broken glass here. Please be careful when passing through the area.
Thank you very much for the warning, Mr. Edgeworth. However, no matter how kind you are towards me, know that it does not clear up any suspicion I have about you.
I wasn't warning you for the sake of clearing my name.
This door leads to the flight attendant's room, but please understand that it's off-limits to unauthorized personnel.
The room was giving off the scent of woman's perfume. I would think that perfume would smell great. However, to me it simply smells. Not that I have any interest in what lies behind this door. Is dude sitting there making these gestures while thinking to himself? That doesn't look fucking weird at all. What if I was just sitting there, looking at a door, just being like... You'd probably think I was weird, right?
Perhaps we should return to the investigation, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth?
Sorry, I spaced out for a second there. Even though you told me I have a limited time to get my shit together.
Grand piano is the pride of this plane. It can play the music of whatever CD we insert into its CD drive.
It's not a piano, it's more like an overgrown music box.
But its keys depress along with the music as though there really is someone playing it.
Some people have entirely too much money to waste on overly complex toys. I am one of those people. What floors does this elevator service?
Only the first and second, although it can also go down to the cargo hold. However, that requires a flight attendant crew keycard.
So the only floors accessible to passengers are the first and second, huh? Rest until I... Oh, God. Stop with the nook and cranny bullshit. What is this sinister-looking figure on the floor here?
Oh, that's a piggy bank of our company mascot, Mr. iFly. It's just one of the many pieces of merchandise we sell at our in-flight shop. This bank is limited edition. It's so popular that we're down to our last one.
You have an in-flight shop?
Yes, it's just beyond the lounge to the right. The shutter of the store is closed at the moment, but it was open the whole flight up until Mr. Hicks' body was discovered.
There's blood on here. Could this have been the murder weapon? I wonder what was hanging off of this lanyard. Something's missing from this picture. Now, if I could just put my finger on it. Like a key card. I doubt anyone was expecting to find a dead body in an elevator on this flight.
So Mr. Hicks, he's really dead?
Yes. She's trembling, although I can't fault her for that when there's a corpse right here.
Mr. Hicks, if you're really dead, then please answer yes.
I see she's over the trembling now, although a new symptom seems to have appeared. Anyway, I should focus on the victim's body. Let's see. There's blood on the back of Mr. Hicks' head. Could this be the cause of death? It appears to have been struck very hard. Even his glasses are broken. Money is strewn all over the floor of the elevator. I would guess it was all in Mr. Hicks' wallet at some point. There's something sticking out of his pocket. Hope you won't mind if I take a look at what's inside. Excuse me. It's a picture. Looks like it was taken inside a building somewhere. Wow, what a cheery-looking fellow. Mr. Hicks' machine is nowhere to be found.
His machine?
His cell phone, Miss Tenero.
So I guess it's because it's not here.
Yes, I think we can safely deduce that the killer took it. A statue with blood on it lying next to the body of a man who was beaten to death.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I think I figured something out.
Yes, what is it?
The way the blood is on this, it looks like it matches up with the wound on his head.
Well, aren't we deserving of the Master of the Obvious title?
Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? Don't you think that's worth investigating?
It would appear that this figurine is our murder weapon.
Oh, I just knew it. I mean, I can't think of any other connection.
Perhaps Master of the Obvious would be more befitting. Oblivious. Master of the Oblivious would be more fitting. English muffins have nooks and crannies.
In-flight shop is just beyond those shutters, but we don't have permission to open them, so I'm afraid I must leave them closed. Must still be clues to be found here in this lounge. I must remain ever vigilant. Some spilled grape juice in front of the elevator.
I assume it was spilled during the turbulence.
Oh, we must clean that up or someone might get hurt.
Aha!
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
I found some very important evidence. What is the important evidence in this scene? Could it be the stains that look like feet?
Take that! What is it?
They're a little smudged, but I think we can both agree they are a set of footprints.
So you think...
Yes, these belong to our killer.
Well, then maybe we should check the shoe size of everyone in first class.
I don't think that will be of any help to us. Unfortunately, the prints are too smudged, which will make it hard to get a definitive match.
Oh, I see.
It's toppled over chair, yet another victim of the turbulence.
Ah, no, look at all that grape juice staining the back! You may not look it, but this chair was extremely valuable.
Was?
Yes, it was used when the Rocker Pals came to tour this plane. The Rocker Pals leader sat in this very chair.
I'm sorry, but what are these Rocker Pals?
Can't believe you've never heard of them. They're all the rage. The Rocker Pals are an extremely popular international band. They added the Pals part as they became more popular, especially among teens.
Well, that explains it. I'm not really one for the music of today. Maybe I should ask Detective Gumshoe about them later. On second thought, I can already see how confusing the conversation would get. And the music of today? What or who is this?
This is a bronze statue of the founder of iFly Airlines, Mr. Hugo iFly. The one on the left is when he was in his 40s, and the other is of him in his 80s.
The man actually aged in the span of 4 decades? Maybe I need to squint more. Miss Tenero, I'd like to ask you about investigating the lounge.
Once you have the captain's permission, I can't stop you from looking around.
You could pass the message along. Tell him I'm grateful for his spirit of cooperation.
Well, however, please realize that you are still under suspicion. To be honest, I still have my doubts about you.
Of course, and I take no offense.
You really understand what I'm saying?
Yes, verily.
You pinky swear you do on your honor as a professional prosecutor?
I pinky swear I do on my honor as a professional prosecutor.
Well, I guess that settles that.
I feel my honor as a man slowly diminishing.
Why does she keep calling it professional flight attendant? Are there amateur flight attendants?
What? You take that and you take this. What? What are you doing there? True, there wasn't anyone else in the lounge other than myself right before the turbulence. But if the killer was in the elevator along with the victim, then that's a different story. I have it!
I'm sorry, but I don't understand, Mr. Edgeworth.
I can prove that someone other than myself was here around the time of the murder.
What? Really?
Yes, it's rather simple, actually. The proof is in the pudding, or rather, the grape juice in this case. These footsteps here confess to me this very fact, that someone exited the elevator alive. Seeing as how the victim is dead, that would mean a second person.
But couldn't the footprints be from Mr. Hicks himself?
Ah, but if you take a look at our victim's shoes, you can see the soles are spotless.
Which means...
Mr. Hicks wasn't alone in the elevator. In fact, it's quite the opposite. There was actually one other person inside the elevator. What's going on over there?
Leaf, scarab, fish, goat, Egyptian hieroglyphics, tree, musical note, scissors, leaf, cobra commander, insect, man bent over, musical note, Egyptian hieroglyphics, tree, man bent over, music notes,
Fish, Egyptian hieroglyphics, squid, man running, scissors, Cobra Commander, up arrow. Unforgivable, this is unforgivable! Do you understand what I'm saying? The movie is late!
Why is he down here complaining about that? Well, because I guess their office is down here.
It's the same level of bad as if the plane arrived late.
But the movie...
What? I'm not talking to you anymore, I'm just wasting my time!
What is the matter, Mr. LeBlanc? If there is no emergency, please return to your seat, sir.
You want to tell me what to do? I need not to sit down. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, did you prove you are innocent yet?
If you would like, I will prove my innocence to you right now.
What nonsense! Are you saying my eyewitness testimony is mistaken?
Not mistaken, merely that there is a room for doubt. I'd be most honored if you could please tell me what you saw in detail once more.
Fine to yourself, as I shoot you with my finger guns.
How is that not supposed to be taken as a threat? He is actually gonna have a stroke if he doesn't calm down.
I'm certain I saw Mr. Hicks enter that elevator. It was when the needles on my pocket was pointed to the 612. The body was discovered 50 minutes later after that in the lounge. Yes, then you, the only person in the lounge at the time, must be the criminal.
Mr. LeBlanc's conclusions seem to make logical sense. After all, the only person in the lounge at the supposed time of the murder was me.
Oh, my witness testimony. If you think you can destroy it, then come let me see. Hurry, do I look like a man who's having the time to wait for you?
Bruh, you ain't going anywhere until this plane lands.
Why is he so irritated? I'm the one accused of murder here. Anyway, I must find a way to discredit Mr. LeBlanc's account somehow, and fast. Okay, we know he entered the elevator. He's in the elevator.
Hold it.
It's true that I found the victim's body at 6:15, and that's when I found the two of them as well.
You see? Now that's just my testimony.
What kind of press was that?
Yes, you're right.
Hold it.
That is the most mistaken way of thinking I've ever heard of.
No, your silly opinion is way mistaken.
Please calm down, the both of you. In a sense, you are both mistaken. Well, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, then I don't know what is. He certainly has a lot of confidence in his testimony. If push comes to shove, I may need to press him for more information.
Hold it.
Mr. LeBlanc, were you able to get a good look at the inside of the elevator at that time?
Of course, I saw what was inside.
And you are sure that the victim was in the elevator alone?
Yes, the only person inside that was Mr. Hicks' bed.
This last outburst is a bit too important to let go.
Hold it.
Was he really alone?
Of course. I will bet even 1 cent.
A cheap ante for a cheap testimony. If that's how you want to play it, I'll happily take your 1 cent.
Objection.
Mr. LeBlanc,
What is it?
there is a very glaring contradiction in your testimony.
What do you mean?
Just take a look at the area in front of the elevator. There, at the spilled grape juice.
Yes, and will you admit you also spilled with the blood?
No, it spilled itself during the turbulence. But the interesting thing here is the set of grape juice footprints.
Footprints?
Yes, the ones that lead from within the elevator out into the lounge itself. It's evidence that proves that someone other than Mr. Hicks exited the elevator alive.
Oof!
There must have been another person in the elevator with Mr. Hicks. Now then, I'm done playing games. Why don't you tell us the truth?
Come on, Barrel! Go! I did some hieroglyphics, squid, a different hieroglyphics, man running, man bending over, musical, no, Cobra Commander, a different hieroglyphics, squid, scarab.
Can you please translate for us?
No way. That's totally impossible, I guess is what he said. She's got some big hair.
Oh wait, that's totally impossible. I know there's no other person in there, I saw it with my own eyes.
You want to know what I think, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't, but guess I'm gonna hear it anyways. I don't think Mr. LeBlanc is lying to us. I suppose she's right. He doesn't seem to be lying. But then what does it mean? What about this contradiction? Mr. LeBlanc, please, just once more, will you recall the details of what you witnessed for me?
Nerd.
Edgeworth does enjoy smelling his own farts. Like, 100%.
I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat. He farted, you see, and then it just kind of just walked by without saying excuse me. Boy, was it quite a fart. I was always checking the time over and over again. I happened to follow that man with my eyes when he passed me. I saw clearly into the elevator he was entering. But I swear there was nobody else inside. Come on.
Mr. LeBlanc, if you would please calm down.
What? Now you two have an issue with my eyewitness testimony?
No, not at all. Please forget I said anything. Yet again, he doesn't appear to be lying, but I can't let this testimony stand as the truth.
Hold it!
So are you still upset now?
I am always upset. You want to try I am not is when I have a piece of art in my hand.
Surprisingly easy to believe that about him.
When I was even more upset when Mr. Hicks walked by me.
Why are you so attentive to the time?
Because something unforgivable is happening.
Come to think of it, you were yelling about something unforgivable earlier.
I was giving a complaint to the lieutenant about the movie starting time. Return back to me my time in money. You understand the point?
Movie? Is he talking about the in-flight one that's mentioned in the magazine? A summary of the plot and the start time. Interesting.
They were supposed to show License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder. I cannot see that movie in my country. You can only see it on international flights.
Tell me you couldn't somehow acquire it when you are in the other country that you are flying to?
I look forward greatly to that movie. I check my pocket watch whenever possible so I not miss it. I even checked my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board. So my watch is not wrong, it matched the schedule. But the movie was still late, very, very late.
Your pocket watch, I'd like to ask you a little more about that if it's alright.
Hold it!
This movie you mentioned, is it the one listed in the Sky magazine?
Yes. I'm so looking forward to watching License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder.
Miss Tenero, was this movie shown on this flight?
Yes, it was shown at the scheduled time.
Isn't it possible you simply slept through it by accident?
I said, you doubt me?
No, now stop pointing at me like that. Is he fucking serious? God, how did he miss a movie that he was so clearly hoping to see?
I said I probably watched a great number of times. That's much I know for sure.
Dude, this is how he goes into his jacket pocket. He extends his arm outward first, and then goes in. That is such a wasted movement. You're sure about what you just testified, Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes, of course. I'm a very busy man. I am immediately busy when I land. I have many places to go and no time to waste adjusting my pocket watch.
I see. That was a very valuable statement you just made.
Flatter me all you want, but you will not get 1 cent out of me.
That's alright. All I require is this piece of testimony.
Hold it!
Since you only happened to see him, it's possible that you missed something in that glance.
Even if I won't happen, I did not miss a thing.
How can you be so sure?
Just because.
I would appreciate if you didn't take my life so lightly with a simple just because.
Well then, I was only making a joke. I saw Mr. Hicks, alright?
Hold it!
Is it possible that someone was hiding inside?
What, you dare insult me? I have belief in my eyesight.
I wouldn't know what that feels like.
When I look for art to sell, I am told often I have great sight for the art.
I think the phrase you were looking for was great sense, although that's debatable. But isn't it possible someone was just outside of your line of sight?
You are physician, I tell you I look clearly.
He needs to reach around his man boob to get to his pocket. Why do you insist that you are absolutely not mistaken?
Because when I say I'm not wrong, I'm not wrong.
Mr. LeBlanc, if I may, I think beyond misconceptions and mistakes lies the truth.
Funny, that suspiciously mirrors something I told her only a little while ago.
I honestly don't think Mr. LeBlanc is lying.
I don't think he's lying either, but I think he might be mistaken about something.
Mistaken?
Yes, and I'm going to correct his mistaken recollection with evidence.
This professional attendant shall witness the prowess of a professional prosecutor.
Again, you can just say prosecutor. Destination, not the departure.
Objection!
Only I may point at myself. Mr. LeBlanc, you said this just now in your testimony. Now, if your watch has been sent to our destination's time zone, it would mean that your watch is displaying the time of our destination.
Yes, and the correct time is worth its 6 cents.
I would like you to take a look at this. If you believe this Sky magazine, clocks on this flight run in accordance with the time of our departure time zone. Of course, the movie scheduled was also created with that in mind. Miss Tenero, for confirmation's sake, what time zone is this flight aligned to right now?
We made a short stop at transfer point.
That's right. It was in that small Asian country, the Republic of Changfa. Changfa. I think that would be pronounced Changfa, right?
But we didn't readjust our onboard clocks at that time. So right now we are still running on Borginian time.
What? The time difference between Borginia and our destination is 9 hours. In that case, it's only natural that your watch would be out of sync with the schedule.
What?
Further, with your analog watch set to our destination's time, it would appear to be running 3 hours fast when compared to the flight's onboard clocks. Also changes everything about your testimony, and you can bet 1,000,000 cents on that. In light of this information, it means you saw Mr. Hicks 3 hours prior at 3 a.m. 1 million cents! This should clear up all of the remaining accusations. So this basically widens the time frame for the time of death, right? Yes, because Mr. Blanc saw the victim enter the elevator at 3 a.m. It means that the time of death could be anywhere from 3 to 6:15 a.m. The question now is, where was Mr. Hicks during that span of time, and what was he doing? I've got something to say. And you are? Oh my god, that smile. Good lord, it's huge. Yeah, oh, wow. I didn't notice that at first. What the fuck is she doing with her uniform? What the fuck is the bear for? I'm sure that is not in accordance with uniform policy. They must have been, bro. She tried to put it on. It was just like, and she was like, oh, I guess it's just gonna have to stay this way, because none of these shirts fit me. Even though she looks like she could be cute, this smile right here is mildly disturbing. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to interpret that. It doesn't look like a happy smile. It almost looks like a, I'm going to kill you when you sleep smile. She looks like my wife when she's mad at me, and I don't know why she's mad. There you go. Her neck's covered more than her chest is. I'm Kemi Meal. I'm a flight attendant. I mean, I deduced that as much from your uniform. Okay, and what is it you wish to say? She doesn't have pupils. What is up with her mouth? Well, I think your story is a little different from how I remember it. What do you mean, Cammy? I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. What? How can you be so sure of the time? Oh, that's right. He pushed his call button while we were parked at the transfer point. Ah, the stop we made for refueling and cargo transfer in Changfa, correct? Yes, it was from 4 to 5 a.m. according to our clocks. And during that time, did any of the passengers leave, or did any new ones board this flight? No, not a single person got off or on in Changfa. What about the flight crew? A few who were handling the cargo transfer might have temporarily gotten on or off. But eventually everyone, including Cammy and myself, came back on the plane. So basically, I can assume that no one left or got on since our initial takeoff. Interesting, I should keep that in mind. Yeah, and I answered his call. I can tell you Mr. Ackby Hicks was there in his seat when we took off again at 5 a.m. Alright, then that puts the time of the murder between 5 and 6:15 a.m. Okay, now what time did you come down to the lounge, Mr. Edgeworth? I remember coming down here almost as soon as we left the Republic of Changfa. Ah! You were him the whole time from 5, yes? Then you were the only one who could be a killer. Mr. Edgeworth, were you really here in this lounge the entire time from 5 a.m. onwards? Unfortunately, yes. But then how do we explain the footprints? It's not that obvious. This man waited for Mr. Hicks in this lounge, waited to kill him, and then he put the corpse into the elevator. That is when the turbulence happened. My eyewitness testimony may have been mistaken, but what time I saw Mr. Hicks enter the elevator on the second floor does not matter, because the entire incident concluded here in this lounge. Everything happened in this lounge? Is that what you really believe, Mr. LeBlanc? Do you have another idea? I simply feel that there is something out of place in the scenario you presented. There's something that can tie this crime to a location other than the lounge? Take that! The murder weapon. This little piggy bank is sold at the in-flight shop. It is sold there and only there, and it is not displayed here in this lounge. How then did it find its way here? Don't you find that a tiny bit suspicious? Such a trivial point. It means you prepared to take it for the stop purpose before coming here. Doesn't prove you are innocent at all. Is there no way to win with this man? If I may. What is it? You see, no, it's just as Mr. Edgeworth says. Oh, and why do you know this so well? Well, it's just that piggy bank was there in the shop. I saw it with my own eyes. And when was this? It was maybe around 5:40 a.m.? Isn't that just before we hit the patch of turbulence? That's right. You were in the shop just before the turbulence? Yes, I was. Come to think of it, this scenario, when I found the body, I believe you came out of that door. Yes, I did. What is beyond that door? That's the flight attendant's room. Then you were on the first floor? Yes. I had to do something at the shop and in the flight attendant's room. So I went to the shop first and then to the flight attendant's room. Are you saying you passed by me at some point? Yes, you seemed really into the issue of Sky magazine you were reading at the time.
don't suppose you noticed me walking by. I vaguely recall someone walking by, but I didn't take notice of who it was. Too busy sniffing my own fun. Anyway, Piggy Bank was definitely there at the shop when I went there.
Why'd you go to the shop in the first place?
I went there for a work-related matter.
Work, you say?
Yes, the upkeep of the shop is also one of my responsibilities.
Why'd you not say anything about that until now is what I want to know.
In any case, I believe it's clear that the shop needs to be investigated as well.
Shall we head over there then?
What is it now?
Aren't you forgetting something, Miss Rhoda? Don't you need the captain's permission to check the shop?
No, I haven't forgotten, but I have already asked him for permission to search the entire plane, so I think we're all right.
Huh? That's weird.
What is?
Well, I just talked to the captain, see? And he said that he didn't give you permission to do anything like that at all.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Tenero?
It means she's lying. Go on, admit that you are. You said you had permission to search all over, but you don't. And yet, here you are.
You flight attendant, what are you trying to do? Put a sleep over us?
Pull the sheep over us.
The captain's calling for you, Miss Rhoda. I don't think he's very happy. Oh, but don't worry. I already got permission to search the shop from the captain. See, unlike you, I do things the right way.
Miss Tenero, why would you do such a thing?
Please excuse me.
Looks like I get to be in charge now. Please go back to your seat, Mr. LeBlanc. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you would follow me, I will be your guide from now on.
There's something about Miss Tenero that has piqued my curiosity. But right now, investigating the in-flight shop is my top priority.
What's she doing? She like falling asleep standing up?
She's either falling asleep standing up or really drunk. Oh my god. Probably a bit of both. Yeah, that'd work too. Chamomile tea helps one sleep. Oh, I did not know that. I don't know anything about tea, because I don't like tea. Oh, I know some very vague things about tea. Nothing about specific teas, other than they're good for you. So this is the in-flight shop. Quite a mess in here.
You think?
I'm sorry. Did I ask for your sass?
Guess I'll have to clean things up then, teehee.
Hold on, you can't clean up a potential crime scene.
Oh, thank goodness. I hate cleaning so much.
I mustn't rush things here. I must remain cool, calm, and collected, because this piggy bank was left at the crime scene. There's a very good chance that the killer had paid this place a visit. Inside this display case is a row of lifesavers and life vests for sale.
We sell a lot of those and there's some kind of accident or something.
Shouldn't you just be giving those to people for free?
But some people buy them even when nothing's going on. How about it, Mr. Edgeworth? Care to buy one?
Since the shop is one shopper away from being sued, beautiful flowers and a beautiful arrangements. I feel cleansed just by looking at them.
Mr. Edgeworth, you're getting pollen all over.
Oh, excuse me. What are these?
Well, those are our company's completely original line of suitcases. They're practically flying out the door. That's how popular they are. You should buy one and see how you like it. You won't regret it.
Perhaps that's how things work on this flight, but in the real world, you try, then buy.
No way. But either way, it doesn't really matter.
True. Either way, why would anyone buy a suitcase after they've boarded the plane?
Anyway, see that? Just look at all the Mr. iFly heads painted on there. Cute company mascot, isn't he? They're painted on with a lot of care. Doesn't he look like he's about to jump out at you?
It is certainly making something jump inside my stomach.
Huh? Well, I guess there's no fooling your refined taste. You look like you really wanted to get one. I thought I was going to finally make my first sale, but you saw right through it. Glad that's done though. Never make me try to give you a sales pitch ever again, okay?
But I never showed any interest in it to begin with.
It really is pretty horrible, isn't it? You want to know something? This suitcase was designed by Miss Rhoda.
Miss Tenero designed this?
Yeah, it was a company-wide contest.
Well, it does have a very sharp design sense.
Sharp? Like stinky sharp cheddar, maybe. I really have no idea why the bigwigs decided to go with it. It's so bleh.
Miss Tenero designed this, did she? It's definitely not what I would have expected.
Ah! You okay?
I'm fine. Please watch yourself, Miss Meal? Keep wanting to say melee. Letting a suitcase freely roll around has got to be a safety violation.
Here, I'll put it back.
Seriously, she walks around everywhere with that fucking stuffed animal? There are all kinds of luxury name brand merchandise for sale in this display case. They're lined up in just such a manner as to scream, "Buy me," to any passersby. Stuffed toys, just like the one Miss Meals holding are on display over there. They're relatively cheap, which explains why they're displayed so haphazardly.
How about it, Mr. Edgeworth? You know you want one too. They're great for when you're stressed.
Why do I envision stuffed animal abuse when she says that? The glass from the display case's door is shattered all over the floor. Looks like there's nothing on display inside either. Wait, actually, I think there is something. What's this? A mini captain's hat? There's a wide selection of souvenirs for sale in these display cases.
You know what I'd suggest?
Sorry, but I have no intention of buying souvenirs on this trip.
Okay, then how about you buy something for me then, as a present?
I can't think of a single reason why I want to buy you anything. Fucking get dumped. Oh my god. Oh, I'd rock these suitcases. But when it comes to like items like this, I like to be flamboyant.
But I've had my eye on that pendant for such a long time.
Try paying some attention to me when I ask you something and then we'll talk. She just turns around like,
Phooey.
tiny captain's hat has to be from a bear, right? They all have the tiny hats on. The hat probably used to be on the piggy bank's head. Let's give it a go and see. I believe this piggy bank was forcibly removed from this display case. Does this mean that the killer broke the glass to get at it?
Really?
Don't tell me you don't know what things go where in this shop.
Oh, I don't. Miss Rhoda's in charge of this place. So come on, how should I know anything?
I sense that further investigation of this display case is needed. God. Nook and cranny.
Ah!
What is it?
I touched the glass and it cut my finger! It hurts, Mr. Edgeworth, it hurts!
Please tell me you can deal with such a minor cut on your own. For security, there's a lock on this display case. Miss Meal, if I may ask you about this lock.
The one who's in charge of the shop is Miss Rhoda, so she's got the keys to all the display cases.
I see.
Oh, I bet you want to buy something. Do you want me to go get the key from her?
No, that's alright. Is this the same man as the one portrayed by the statues around the elevator?
Yeah, that's a paperweight of the founder of iFly Airlines, Mr. Hugo iFly. On the bottom shelf, we have the cute one. The middle shelf is the realistic one. And on the top shelf, that's the floral version.
Floral, are you sure about that? Let me guess, you just said the first thing that came to your mind, right? It's like I hit the bullseye. iFly Airlines related books line this shelf. The history of iFly Airlines, the future of iFly Airlines, the 7 wonders of iFly. Fight on, iFly Airlines. Working, aim, go you, Airlines. I love flying. These titles make it very clear that they won't be making the top sellers list anytime soon. The piggy bank was probably here, right? There's definitely something very unusual about this.
About what?
The killer had broken the glass to get at the Mr. Iffy Bank. iFly, sorry. There should be shards of glass inside the case itself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess it'd be like that.
However, there's not a single piece of glass inside the display case.
Nope, no there isn't.
Which means that the glass is broken from the inside out. The piggy bank must have fallen over from the turbulence and right through the glass.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's so much glass all over the floor.
I'm willing to bet that this hat was knocked off its head at that time too.
Huh? That's nice. So what?
Which leads me to believe that the killer took the Mr. I Fly from here after the turbulence. Take your power naps on your own time, Miss Meal, and listen when I'm talking.
What?
She's drooling. But the murder occurred before the turbulence, which rules this piggy bank out as the murder weapon.
So you mean the bank's not the real murder weapon? It's a fake?
Yes, at this point, that is a very real possibility.
But then what if when the killer went to take Mr. iFly, they broke the glass by accident?
The display case is locked, so it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, but there's one person who could have.
Oh, and who would that be?
Miss Rhoda, of course. I mean, she's the one in charge of this place, so she has the keys to everything.
Miss Rhoda Tenero, huh? Couldn't possibly be the red herring. Oh, no.
What's with the sun yelling?
Tell me, Miss Meal, don't you think there's something strange about these suitcases?
Oh, well, sure, they totally ooze strange, like the color and the such.
And the such. That's not what I'm talking about. Now pay attention.
Ah, you're scaring me, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sorry. These suitcases are lined up a bit too prim and proper.
Yeah, they look a bit uptight, don't they? But I guess they take after their creator.
Again, that's not what I meant, Miss Meal. Don't you find it unusual that these cases are the only things undisturbed by the turbulence? Never mind, I'd sooner find an answer by inspecting these suitcases myself. On closer inspection, they really are quite hideous.
I wonder how Miss Rhoda would react if she heard what you just said. What's wrong?
She makes a good point. It would be wise of me to watch what I say out loud. What's this? I've spotted something that's not quite right. What is so unusual about this suitcase? There's supposed to be a stopper here, and there isn't a stopper here. Take that! Let's take a closer look at it, shall we? What's this? The wheel's completely covered in something. This color and the scent, it appears the substance in question is grape juice. Why would there be juice on the wheel of a suitcase? It would appear to be unlocked. Let's take a look at what's inside. Oh my! Huh, a piece of cloth with blood on it. It's soaked with blood.
Ah, it's blood!
It appears that this suitcase is very strongly tied to our murder after all.
So explain this to me. What does this suitcase have to do with the murder?
I believe it's pretty safe to say that the killer used this suitcase in some manner. Such as to move something, perhaps?
But aren't you just talking about the cloth then?
That alone is too small. A larger item would be needed to move what I'm thinking of. The thing I believe the killer used this suitcase to transport is... Take that! Something that would fit inside a suitcase that is also covered in blood. Sounds like a dead body, doesn't it?
But...
In light of this, I'd say that Mr. Hicks was moved into the elevator from somewhere else, which means that the murder was committed in an entirely different location.
So you're saying that after moving the body into the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase in here and just left it?
Exactly. What is it?
Nothing, just that I was thinking about what Miss Rhoda said about coming here for something.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth? I wanted to give you a bit more time, but I'm afraid I wasn't able to convince the captain. I'm very sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but the captain feels that he has allowed you ample time. He says that he'd appreciate it if you could wrap it up here and return to your seat. I understand his sentiments, however, if I'm not allowed to complete my investigation, the crime scene may become contaminated by the time we land. If I must stop, then I insist I be allowed to oversee the preservation of the two sites, under your supervision, of course. If that's your only condition, then I believe we can accommodate your wishes. I'm here to assist you in any way that I can, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sounds like fun! We can camp out and watch over everything together!
I found proof that the real crime scene was not in the lounge, and I have enough evidence to prove myself to be innocent of any wrongdoing. And yet, regarding what Miss Meal reminded me about Miss De Niro, I can't allow my investigation to end here. The truth must come to light. It's definitely not Miss De Niro. I've done one OWI in my life, and that was because it was a family friend, and there was a very specific way they wanted to go about the case. I've had, other friends, family friends who I've referred to elsewhere because, the way they wanted to go about it, I was not comfortable with being able to represent them because it would require somebody who's much more in tune. OWI lawyers, is a specialty in my state because of how much drinking and driving there is. So, unlike other places, you're gonna find more of those specific type of attorneys than anywhere else. So I just refer them to one of them, and he's very good. The person that I refer them to is actually, I don't think any of the people I've ever sent to him have had to accept the OWI charge. They have not found to have been operating while intoxicated. They might have ended up getting a lesser charge, or it got dismissed. He is really good. He's a little expensive, but that's a huge deal. I will struggle with that in cases in which I don't believe they should be able to get away with what they did, which is why I'm not a criminal attorney, and I'm very strict about the cases that I take. If I think you're lying to me, I'm not taking your case, because I will not be able to zealously advocate for your position, because that's just the way I do things. Somebody else can put their moral compass aside, more power to them. I can't do that. Which I guess that's something that I do have in common with Phoenix that I don't think you'll find is the norm. A lot of attorneys will take cases just because they want to take cases. And they'll ignore their, am I sure? Maybe not. We'll let the courts decide that. If I'm even at that borderline, I'm like, nope. And like Phoenix says, for me at least, you have to believe in your client. If you don't believe in your client, I don't think you're going to be able to do a good job. What if your client hires an assassin to kidnap your friend? That's an interesting question. I probably go about it the way Phoenix did. Because, at some point, you have to say, this person means more to me than my career does. So I don't care if I end up, fucking up if it means that they don't die. And so in that case, something I should mention, when it comes to getting your license suspended or something like that, it's not something that happens automatically. There's a review, and then it goes in front of the state bar. They can decide to not suspend you based on extenuating circumstances. So there's no guarantee that you would be fucked there, at least in terms of your career. They could decide that they don't want to punish you. It's within their discretion. I'm almost positive we have no statutory, if they do this sort of thing, it's mandatory that they receive this punishment. I'm pretty sure a lot of that is at their discretion. When I received appointments, now, to be fair, the difference is that you're talking about criminal appointments. I got appointments in juvenile court, which is a pseudo-criminal civil court. It's a weird in-between. We weren't simply appointed. The judge would refer their clerk to contact a specific attorney, but there are two reasons that they contacted us before we were simply appointed. The first one, and actually what I would argue is the biggest reason, is that they have to make sure that a conflict check is ran. They can't just simply appoint you and assume everything's okay without running a conflict check. That has to happen. Because any point in time that there's a conflict of interest because of another client that you have, you absolutely cannot take that appointment. And then the second thing is, this is kind of what we're looking at for this case. It seems messy. It seems like it's not all that messy. Can it fit in your schedule? Because if they thought the case was going to trial or something like that, they would actually look for an attorney that had a lighter schedule to make sure that the attorney actually would be willing to go to trial, and they don't just dump it on somebody who has a huge workload already and thus is like, oh God, I have such a huge workload. Let's just settle because of my workload, as opposed to because that's what's best for the client. But you can't even get to that point without step one, no conflicts being fulfilled. Because if there is a conflict, they're just going to find somebody else, or clients can waive the conflicts subject to the judge's approval. But that's something that kind of everyone has to be in agreement about. Yeah, that's also true. Because of the way the game describes the Mad on Guard situation, I guess you can get the impression that that was the only way out of it, but that's not true. Yeah, it's basically a hearing. They won't just say, oh, somebody complained about you, disbarred, suspended. That's not how it works. Yeah, another party could intervene to make that, if you didn't want to do that because your hands were tied, that it could be considered a mistrial. I guess Franziska wasn't going to do that, though, right? Nooks and Crannies drinking game? God, yeah, every time he says Nooks and Cranny, take a fucking shot. I would do it if I wasn't already tossed. I mean, you know the answer to this. Completely depends on, their ability to appeal would allow them to do. Because, there might be some systems where it's we will only accept an appeal if procedurally something was done incorrect, as opposed to anything substantive. And so they might say, nah. But even so, then the Supreme Court can, to a certain extent, as long as it's not against written law, do what they want. But that is considered the court making its own law, and that is heavily disfavored. So yeah, it just completely depends on what their legal system says. They might allow it because there's nothing explicitly, well, no, I guess that is explicit. Let's put it this way. If there were no other options, the judge could still allow for that to happen. But if there is another option, the judge is going to say, use the other option. Yeah, like Tom said, if you're in the middle of nowhere and your choices are very limited, then something like that might be acceptable. But in a situation like mine, where I live in a mid-sized city, there's somebody else to do it.
Okay, wait, who do we got here? Okay, so there's the dude, this guy here who was doing that weird shit on the plane. This lady who's very inappropriately trying to sell him something right now, even though he looks like he's gonna hurl. We have this dude who is hurling. Actually kind of looks like me in a suit. Not the full beard, but goatee me. He is hyperventilating or puking. You have this human being that might be a child or an adult, I can't really tell. This looks like what's his fuck from 1-3, the Steel Samurai case. He's got the tail on the headgear. He's kind of bigger. Salmonella, yeah. I like Salmonella, because that's how we used to talk back then. Juroxers my soxors, woot woot, honed. Edgeworth is just sitting here like, I am in a fucking room of clowns. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Miss Tenero and Miss Mealy, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Miss Tenero in private. So I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. I don't know who this is. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. I should have known. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. After, you know, Phoenix handed you your ass many times in a row. I go where I am needed, and wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma, the daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. Are you fucking kidding me? It's quite frustrating, actually. I'd hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue, but I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day when a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? She's fucking kidding, right? This is a gigantic joke. This piece of dialogue here, this is a gigantic fucking joke. She said that, and she's looking around, and we're all supposed to go, it's funny because her father murdered somebody. He was never convicted. He committed suicide before it ever happened. Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So he legally, technically never murdered anybody. Sure, yeah, we'll go about our business assuming that's the case. Like, come on. Yeah, slaughtered was harsh. Franziska prosecuting Edgeworth would be similarly inappropriate. It would be like similar to if my sister was accused of a crime and I was chosen to prosecute. Everybody would look at that and be like, is he really gonna do a good enough job? We have doubts that he's going to do his best to put his sister in prison. Manfred Slaughter. Oh yeah, this fucking line. Wait, it has all been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding? Okay, it might be the alcohol talking, but she's a fucking cutie. And the more I've interacted with the community, the more I've learned that a lot of people do not like her, which leads me to believe there's something wrong with me. But as, who was it that pointed that out? I long to get stepped on by somebody. Was that Mike? I mean, I like her. I get why some people dislike her, but I find her character thoroughly enjoyable. After going through 2-2 and 2-3, I was actually really impressed. She's entirely inappropriate in the courtroom, right? When it comes to like the whipping and shit like that. I was actually more so impressed than I was at the time of two things. One, she's pretty good with her arguments. Like her logic's pretty good. Her counters were always very sound. It could be because after her we got Godot, who was the worst prosecutor by far. And two, legitimately seemed like, yeah, she wanted to beat Phoenix, but she just wanted to do a good job. She wanted to be the best at her job. It wasn't about fucking somebody over. It was, I need to do my job, I think, in the optimal fashion. The one time that seems kind of dubious, though, is when she's like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have searched Acro's room. That was your fucking job. That's why you did it. But that also tells me that her instincts are to be a good prosecutor. A moral, good prosecutor. Even if it ended up screwing her in the end, she still made that decision. And that tells me that deep inside, that's who she is.
She didn't search his share, but she did search the room, because what happens at the end of the trial, I forget exactly what happened to lead Phoenix to that conclusion, but whatever happened, it had something to do with the fact that she ordered the search. Oh, because he had to put the thing in his share because she ordered the search. And if she had not ordered the search, he would not have had the murder weapon on him in court. She's like banging the table at the end, like, I can't believe I fucking did that. Bang, bang. Yeah, because he didn't have anywhere else to put it. Oh yeah, I loved her in 3.5. I was so happy with the way they used her in 3.5. Yeah, which is weird. Like, how do you not, like, have a contingency plan to get rid of a gigantic statue? Acro fucking sucked. God, that case is garbage. I could be misconstruing things, but like I said, I came away and I'm like, I'm actually a little more impressed with her as a prosecutor than I was before. Maybe it's because like the whip leads such an impression. It's like pure antagonist. And you expect her to be pure antagonist because she's Von Karma, so it all just kind of fits. But I actually think they were subtly better with her. I know that seems weird, right? Subtlety with a person that fucking whips people. But there are some subtleties to her that I think the writers did a really good job with. And that allows her to still be an effective character in Trials and Tribulations, and now hopefully this game. Because I think if those subtleties are not there, it's a lot harder to integrate her into these later stories and for us as the players to give a shit. Or not be like, groan, you know? I think Max is the best part of that case. I actually really liked him as a client. I think he's one of my clients I enjoyed more. Besides, you know, Maya, but that's your fucking partner.
I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death.
Wait, hold on. So she was assigned to this case? She was in Germany before? I go where I am needed? The implication being that she was called in for this case? How the flying fuck, pun intended, did she get here before Edgeworth did? That plane literally would have had to have gone at warp speed. Unless she just so happened to be in Japan. And then they were like, hey, we need you to do this case. Okay, why not? Is it against Mr. Phoenix, right? No. Ah, well, I'll do it anyways. Whip teleport.
Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man?
I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I've investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then.
See? That illustrates two things. One, this is exactly why she shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be a part of this case. Because there's a conflict based on their past experience. And two, that she isn't just all about, I just gotta put everybody in jail. That's all I care about, is the guilty verdict. Oh, are we in the US right now? Okay, that I don't remember. That would make a little more sense. But I guess I would have assumed that Borginia and Germany weren't that far away from each other. I guess I assumed Borginia was a European country, but maybe it's not.
That's as it should be.
Ha! I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for.
Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together?
I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town.
Trust me, I have no intention to.
Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir. God! Whoa! Okay, I've seen the anime. I don't remember him being that much taller than Edgeworth. Holy shit. I don't even remember him being that much taller than Edgeworth in the fucking last chapter. Am I just freaking out because I'm drunk? Probably. He was huge running through. I felt like I was getting vibrations there. He looks a lot taller than 2 inches in this particular scene. But yeah, I know he's higher than him, but dude, look how he's like more than a head taller than him at this point. So even if you bring him down, he's at least half a foot taller. I do know that Franziska's short, but it could be because he's next to Franziska instead of Edgeworth that got me to jump the gun. But I was like, holy shit.
Too slow. Oh, listen up. I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand?
Mr. Edgeworth, I'm supposed to guard him? Dream come true. I mean, yes, sir.
A simple yes or no, detective.
Ah, yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me.
Miles Edgeworth, if you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me.
I know we know that she called her father as Papa, but when she was addressing him directly, was she like, Manfred von Carmel? Or maybe he's the one that, like, instilled that to her. You will not refer to me as Papa. You shall refer to me only as Manfred von Karma.
Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay. Thank you, Detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. We all need somebody to lean on. I never want to hear you sing a song again in your life. I have to admit, I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well, in that case, I have a few questions for you. This is a familiar theme. A little change in the tune. You, stop eating for 1 goddamn minute and answer my question. Lunchland. Not bad. I guess it's gotten big enough to warrant its own brand shops. What should I go with? I recommend our airport special World Flags lunchboxes. Only available for a limited time. We have a variety of lunchboxes made up to look like different countries' flags. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, isn't that Stars, what she was doing at the time, right? She was starting that business up. Gumshoe is only 6 feet tall. I would have pegged him as my height. I wonder if they're aiming to take Lunchland to the international market? So how's the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. We're taking statements now, sir. That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case. I'd say she was, a little too quick, sir. Oh, how so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something, and had come in advance to wait your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue, and from Germany. Plus, I still don't know why she's here. Oh, he is here! Wait, why is Gumshoe here? Okay. Wait. I see. It's part of my confusion with the Jamaica thing. I can't remember what case it was, but I was under the impression that Jamaica was still the island of Japan because they referred to it as coming to Japan as opposed to America. So that's what I always thought. Okay, that makes sense. Fuck, what case was that? But I'm assuming then in the original Japanese version, they're saying, I don't know why she's here in Japan instead of America. There must be some backstory to all of this. This Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office around a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident. No details? It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Although, I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine? Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it's high time to resume my investigation. Starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. If they're in America, in the English translation, then the village has to be in America. Because Pearl walked from the village to the court once, right? Which there's no way she did that if it was Japan. This life vest is proof I made it alive. It's now my prized possession. How could you just take that from the plane? It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. It's got nothing to do with the murder, at least. I don't know about that. It gave me the ding noise. This child seems to be happily enjoying the sight of so many planes. All excited to see this many planes, too. Just look at the size of these things.
You like planes too, mister? The balance between the main wings and the tail wings is really something, huh?
It seems that this child derives his pleasure from a different aspect. Oh, but I've also got a thing for the shape of the wings, too.
Here, mister, you can stand next to me. So about that plane's wing.
Thank you, Detective, for leaving me out of the conversation. There's nobody else here to talk to. Oh, they just wanted me to go in. Okay.
So you must be the captain.
Why, yes, I am. And who might you be?
I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von
Who introduces themselves as a prodigy?
And I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain, getting friendly with another woman. I'll never forgive you if you do.
Oh, what are you talking about?
I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear captain to be much of a reputable person. Dating her? I mean, are you kidding me?
Sure you don't want to ask Captain some questions, sir?
He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip.
Oh, God.
Oh, see here!
Ah! Sorry, I'm sorry!
How long do you intend to hold me? Is it possible for me to be the criminal I told you? Mr. LeBlanc. Oh, it is you! Tell this plan to start stopping me from growing! Time is money! I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend!
Yeah, I thought Cammy was super fucking short.
Fuck you all. I need to go talk to Salmonella. Looking from behind, I think I've seen this man somewhere before.
In Soviet Russia, world flag lunchboxes eat you. F.
Mr. Edgeworth, we've got to get him some water.
Found it, lol. Oh, I feel a wave of creative powers coming on. It's over 9,000 lols. For my next Leap movie, it's gonna be the Steel Samurai Warrior Neo Old Tokyo versus the World Samurai Champion of Earth. It's gonna rock so many boxers.
Ew, good thing it was a false alarm, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
So the Steel Samurai is finally getting a movie.
Completely ignoring me as usual. Huh.
That lead speak, boy, I tell you. I hope he's a victim in 7. Oh my god, that's rough.
Gonna rocksters the boxers.
I still say rocksters sometimes, but no, I don't regret it. Yeah, I was dated then. Sir, you can't go in there. I'm Miles Edgeworth, goddammit. I'm one of the prosecutors on this case, so please let me through. That's a lie. That is a falsehood that he just spoke. That is ooh, and the law enforcement at that. I'm very sorry, sir. No one is allowed to enter without Ms. Von Karma's express permission. But I'm on the case. Yes, I understand that, but I also have explicit instructions not to let you through from Ms. Von Karma.
Why would you do this to me, Franziska?
I am the law. Did you finish taking his statement yet?
Yep, all done, sir.
Look, I'm sorry if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. I'm literally having a stroke. Don't you see that? I need my goddamn cargo. You make a single scratch of my art, you will pay.
Art? What sort of art? Mr. Edgeworth, why are you engaging this obviously crazy and deranged man about his art dealings? Obviously not a man of culture. Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small.
From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of arts.
Old costumes. Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Ah. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me?
Whoa, it's the Borgian cloth.
As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose?
Yes, of course, it's fabric with the latest. Orders come from over the seas for more.
Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier?
No. My cargo this time is much many gigantic. You, detective, what can I have my cargo back?
You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal.
This stubbornness of you police, it is no good. It's no good. The attendant refuses to exit the attendant's room too.
That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Miss Tenero? I mean, that's as much of a motivation as Kristoff had. What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc?
I'm taking her to the attendant's room for her interview. They still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her.
Why is Miss Tenero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time?
Miles Edgeworth, you were given free reign to examine the plane, weren't you?
Why are you so angry? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Tenero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant's room?
Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances.
I understand.
You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Now, I might be a small-town lawyer.
What the fuck?
But your sophisticated words ain't going over my head, Miles Edgeworth.
Oh, this is cool. I know this is actually the second time you've done it, but it's the first time where it's not a suspect. You are actually going head to head with another attorney, like in regards to the facts of the case and the logic behind it, as opposed to that fucking athlete is the murderer, god damn it.
Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion.
I don't like the way this started. Let's not complicate things by choosing the easiest path. Oh my god. That's the type of thing you hear like your friends say and you don't pay attention to it initially, but you like double take it like, wait, what'd you say? Oh, Franziska.
The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. She's not wrong, it does make him the likeliest suspect, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's enough to arrest him.
The likeliest suspect, Franziska? As opposed to the other suspects available to them?
Do you have a problem with that?
No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. That is actually why it works. Because likeliest suspect is so weak. It's a very weak label. You're usually a bit more absolute.
I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend?
Even my kindness is prodigious. Prodigious? Is that the word? Due process is just a suggestion. Even my kindness is prodigious. Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic. Fast. Stop waving your finger at me condescendingly. Okay, I need to press this. Don't you think you're being a bit rash by simply declaring me the culprit? No, that's not the correct response.
I like my affairs to be simple and perfect. I'll show you the meaning of both when I finish this whole thing within 3 minutes.
Hey, you say that like you're cooking a pack of instant noodles.
I won't allow even 3 seconds of useless testimony to be uttered in my presence.
Well, he wasn't providing testimony, but okay. I see she hasn't changed a bit, but I won't allow her to send me to prison so easily. That was not true, right? Calling for the attendant at 5 a.m. His body was found around 6-something p.m. Wasn't there something that placed Miss Tenero at the scene of the crime? What do you mean by scene?
Please stop pretending like you don't know. It's insulting. Obviously, I'm talking about how Mr. Hicks was seen calling for an attendant at 5 a.m. And then from the time after that call until the body was found.
Well, it's true that I was in the lounge the whole time. That fact alone does not make me the criminal.
We'll see about that at the conclusion of this investigation. However, there is one thing that even you must admit at this time.
Under the circumstances, I suppose I can agree that I am the most likely suspect. But I believe you, sir. I don't think you did it. Miss Von Karma's gotta believe that too, right? I mean, you two are like siblings now.
Quiet, Scruffy. Even if we were related by blood, that's no guarantee that he's not a criminal.
Expertly double negatived there. Franziska?
I demand to see some proof that you are not the guilty party.
Likely a suspect, huh? What a roundabout... Wait, I didn't see what that word was. But it would appear that she doesn't yet know about the new evidence that we acquired and where we acquired it. I'll take care of the gaps in her logic one hole at a time. Did I have to present the rag itself? Oh, that's right. The body was moved.
Again, my brain no works so good when drowned in alcohol.
It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all.
And what does that mean?
I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all.
Now who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions?
Excuse me?
All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth.
I expected you to come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily.
You should know better than that. Avant Karma is perfect in every way, except for that one way where my father wasn't, and all the other times I was beaten by Mr. Phoenix. Anyways,
but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point?
as if there is proof of that.
Where is the proof that this suitcase was moved around?
The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator.
Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? Probably where it looks like there are wheels. This mark here, wouldn't you say it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels?
I suppose.
Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here.
I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else.
I'm glad you've come to your senses.
Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot.
All it does is prove that the body was moved, not that he wasn't the one that did it.
You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from and pretended to be the discoverer of the body.
How incredibly convoluted. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly.
Just what are you insinuating?
It's actually a compliment. It's not being sarcastic. It is impressive to come up with that just like in a brief second. And I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is.
If it was meant to be an insult, it was a dumb insult.
I'll expose the flaws in our logic in one fell swoop. That was actually pretty good considering you came up with it on the fly.
Oh, thank you.
The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared.
Evidence and logic, essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master.
But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix?
A fake?
This Mr. iFly piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the murder weapon.
What?
The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important. And it was taken after the turbulence had occurred.
But then, what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that?
I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did three things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator,
hey guys, it's the killer from Danganronpa! Red sus self-report.
What would I do if the Ace Attorney characters just showed up at my house? I'd probably call 911 because I was obviously going through some sort of ridiculous hallucination.
Now let's say somebody came to my house just dressed like Franziska von Karma. It's obviously a real person.
I would be like, man, I'm more famous than I ever could have imagined, because why the fuck would that ever happen?
I would say 50-50 she was a stripper, and I'm getting rewarded for something. Or she's trying to take me as a sucker and like, come on to me, but then tie me up and actually rob me blind. A lot of bad things that can happen in that situation. Not as fun as you would think.
The killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick up the bank from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks.
You there.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found?
We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence, and the remaining items are tested negative for any trace of blood.
I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end.
And it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir.
If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth.
Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene.
There is one more possibility,
And that would be?
that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon.
But didn't we just...
Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane on the door was broken. I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see, so that means that the killer had the key to the display case.
Franziska, the person you're talking about.
Not so fast. I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wished to speak with her.
Yes?
Very well, permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other?
I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish.
Mr. Tennero is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move.
That dude is still going at it. I didn't expect a bunk bed there. I guess I should have? A miniature Franziska von Karma appears at my home? Franziska von Karma is miniature, so like how short are we talking here?
So you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that?
Miss Tennero,
Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too?
can you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did?
Alright. It started when I realized that I had cardboard boxes on the back of my head.
Mini Franziska will still whip me into submission? That's fine. If Mini Franziska wants to step on me, she can do that all she pleases. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that?
Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission.
What do you mean?
The captain, he only has ears for Cammy.
I mean, yeah, I heard them out there. They're basically scheduling the next time they fuck on the plane. Everybody knows that. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seemed to be rather taken with Miss Mealy.
Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends.
In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges.
Really? You're able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness.
Miss Tennero, is it? I need to know your full name, otherwise I can't address you properly. There is one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly.
Yes, I was.
And why were you there?
Well,
Why the sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve.
all I did was go check up on the shop like I always do.
You're saying it was for work then?
Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise.
After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct?
Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell.
Miss Tennero claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. And is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. What thing? If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Tennero.
Oh, that suitcase.
Yes, about this suitcase. You are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else out about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it?
There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there?
Won't you please tell me more about this suitcase?
Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional I'm not supposed to care. I really wanted to know, and I was glad to see that it was the last one there.
Ding, ding. The last one there? So you're saying, Miss Tennero, that the suitcase in question was the last one?
Yes, they're just so popular they're practically flying off the shelves.
Why is she twitching? That's not exactly the impression I got. Oh, because she's lying.
The one in the shop is definitely the last one.
Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase.
Really? Then I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one.
I didn't say anything about buying it.
Then say you'll buy it.
I'm sorry, I can't. Just too hideous.
But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional. Remaining?
There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it.
2, but that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like her story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left.
Something is amiss here. Could be the meaning of this inconsistency. By the way, Miss Tenero, what is one of those suitcases doing here?
That's...
I thought you said there was only 1 left?
That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now.
You've used it for a long time? I think not. Miss Tenero, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me.
Excuse me?
I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Miss Tenero says?
Take that!
Tell me, Miss Tenero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase?
What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase?
Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. She's just embarrassed that her suitcase is fuck ugly. Miss Tenero, I think I understand. I know what you are trying to hide. Now then, this suitcase was originally in... Seeing as how the price tag is still on this suitcase, one can only assume it was out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought this suitcase was...
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Miss Tenero? I hate to say this, but this suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it?
Okay, so this is reminiscent of 4-3, was it? The Lamoire case? If you're getting to the point where you're obviously being accused of fucking murder, you need to get over whatever stupid pride you have, like in this case, her suitcase, and just tell the truth.
Look, I designed this suitcase. I thought it was really pretty. No one else wants it, so I'm embarrassed because I designed such a fucking ugly suitcase. Instead, she's like, but I can't tell you anything about that.
And it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. If she's getting questioned like that, I think she should have a suspicion, unless she is that naive. Yeah, it's more so the colors than the design itself.
It hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right?
Hey, so mood and relatable. When we first made this channel, I always tried to add at least 5 views through different accounts just to make it seem like somebody had seen it. It's like 5 was like the bare minimum. Because if you see something with 0 views, you're not even gonna bother. But 5 views, well, 5 people saw it. Sometimes you just gotta boost yourself, even if it's horribly misguided.
Then the reason you went to the shop and came back here was, I'm sorry, all I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I'd finally accomplish something.
But the suitcase didn't sell.
It's because of the design, isn't it?
No, it's the color palette.
All because it's, as you put it, hideous.
I can't say they chose a great piece in which to sell them either.
We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there day in and day out. I decided to buy one for every flight I worked.
You buy one every single time you work a flight?
That's expensive. I see. So in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well.
Yes, and here's my receipt for that purchase.
This receipt is clearly timestamped 5:40 a.m.
Who's the cashier?
Truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. We're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight.
Miss Tenero, where are these other suitcases?
They should all be down in the cargo hold.
Then the suitcase the killer used
could very well have come from the cargo hold.
Mr. Edgeworth, you didn't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to...
Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body.
How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be.
Miss Tenero, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator?
The only other way is just through that door there.
And what about security?
That door has no special lock installed because to enter this room, you need a special key guard that only crew members have access to.
Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects.
I can't believe it.
Jesus Christ, what is your problem, Franziska? Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karma name. And what do you mean by that? Besides, I don't have the Von Karma name. The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their keycard. Miles Edgeworth, you're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. The other attendant, Miss Mealy. I asked her earlier and she had this to say. Franziska got information out of Miss Mealy. In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different key card is required. A different one? Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhoda Tenero, and only you. Ah! What? Is this true, Miss Tenero? Yes, I keep that key card in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yes, hold on. Ah, I don't believe it! What's wrong? The key card, it's gone. Yeah, I'm sure it's gone. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Edgeworth? Dude just crossed his arms. I turned my back to you. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face. Franziska, I know that you are the lead investigator on this case. However, hold it. Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? I intend to do likewise. They're $1,200? Guess I didn't pay attention to the price tag. Is that US dollars? Baker away, toys. About a year ago, I started watching your Phoenix Wright videos and was about to start studying for the LSAT. Now I've graduated college and committed to law school. Any advice for an upcoming 1L? So I can only say this from like a general standpoint. I don't know what your habits are as a student. These might be things that are perfectly fine for you already. But I will say that the most important things for me that I wish I did a better job of, make sure you take that reading really seriously, because it took me some time to get adjusted to that. Because when I was an undergrad, when they said your homework is to read, as long as I didn't have to do questions or something, it meant that I had no homework. So that took some getting adjusted to. Like, you need to be able to brief your cases, especially if the school you're going to utilizes the Socratic method. The other thing is be adaptive when it comes to your writing. Yeah, I mean, that's the basic way of doing things, so it's good that you've had that experience already, because I did not. And they expect you to need to know it. Your first day in there, you had to have read what they assigned. Like I was saying, the other thing is the writing thing. I had a problem adapting from creative writing to legal writing because I was too stubborn about it. And it wasn't until my second legal writing professor really helped me get over my own roadblocks. So just be very open-minded about writing in a way that perhaps you would not have thought of as being the right way to be writing things. Also, I would not work your first year, at least not until the summer, if you can swing that. I know not everybody can, but I would really suggest you not have to worry about working a job in addition to acclimating to law school, because a full plate of law school is going to be very much different, and it's going to take some adjusting than your standard complement of credits as an undergrad. The classes and the way it's handled and the work's going to feel much different. For those that don't know, in a lot of law schools, I won't say all of them because I know there's some of them that don't do it this way. In most classes, our grade is based on one exam. The whole make sure that you know the cases ahead of time for the Socratic method, that's one, so that you actually make sure that you're reading and understanding the cases, and two, so that you don't embarrass yourself when you're called on. You don't want to be sitting there like, I don't know. But yeah, there's one exam that determines our grade. So I never had an undergrad class that was anywhere similar to that. Most of my classes had at bare minimum 2 exams, and then probably some homework that your grade was based on. So that was really scary. It turned out to be not as bad as I thought it would be. Also, it sounds like you're probably fine with this already, but for those that aren't good at outlining things, very important to learn how to outline notes, because you need to make sure that you're able to parcel out the most important points instead of a bunch of extraneous details that'll just clog your brain from what's really important. No, the most that we had in terms of papers were, I had a couple professors that had, it was like a midterm paper that you would submit, but it wouldn't even be like a big part of your grade. It would basically be the difference between like, if I got a B, I could get a B plus or B minus based on how well or poorly I did on it. It could bump you half a letter grade. That's the most that it could do though. 2L and 3Ls are fucking breezes compared to 1L. You'll still have mandatory classes that you'll have to take, but you have more freedom to choose when you're gonna take them. And the elective classes, like I took a lot of IP classes. I was far more interested in the IP classes than say torts. And torts didn't interest me at all. IP on the other hand, hell yeah. And that can be a big difference when like a lot of it is put on you to be able to do what you're supposed to do, as opposed to the class itself kind of holding your hand. I also hate the Socratic method, and it is the worst when the professor has zero charisma, and many of them do, and they think they have charisma, and it's like, no, there's a reason you're a professor, not an actual practicing attorney. I know that's like probably really harsh to say, but some of them just like, the whole class is just cringeworthy. Wow, so this is the cargo hold, huh? It's so big! This plane is a special model. It has both a super large cargo hold and ultra luxurious first class seating. Yeah, how fucking huge is this plane? Look how tall the ceiling is! And there was another floor on top of the one we were just on. So is this the real scene of the murder? There is certainly a high probability of that, which is why we are here, correct? Okay, let's get investigating, sir. Holy suitcases, Mr. Edgeworth. It's like an all-you-can-use suitcase fair. These must be all the leftover ones they couldn't sell. The ones the company is planning to dispose of after this flight is over. This paint job is really cool, don't you think? It practically screams artsy. Oh, why not purchase one then? I'm sure it will bring you much happiness. You think so? Then maybe I will. Let's see here, $1,200? I think I'll pass. Okay, you weren't kidding. $1,200? And she bought one every... She's a drug dealer. She has to be a drug dealer. That's the only way she'd have that extra money while being a stewardess. She sold drugs on the plane. That's the only logical explanation. See, 1,200 yen, I mean, even that wouldn't make sense, because that'd be 12 bucks roughly. Like that's way too cheap. Oh, I'd buy it for $2. I'd buy this for $12. I would rock this suitcase. I'd be walking around with, hey, you can't tell by the way you walk, I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music, like, yeah, and people would be like, why is he strutting with that fuck ugly suitcase? The max I would pay for this suitcase, 20 bucks. One common bill. And Miss Tenero wonders why they didn't sell. You'd need 2 jobs just to buy one. It definitely looks like one is missing. What is this brittle substance I'm stepping on? Bunch of glass fragments? Hey, what's with the suitcase, pal? Is where the victim checked in, sir. So this suitcase belonged to Mr. Hicks. I don't think he'd mind if we took a closer look. There's nothing out of the ordinary in here, sir. Wait, a file? There's a photo of Miss Von Karman in it, sir. Looks like a profile on Franziska. Why would Mr. Hicks have a file on her? All sorts of boxes are piled up here. This one says flammable, and this one, it says pharmaceuticals. This one says for exorcism use only. So what kind of operation is this airline running? Legit fucking question. Oh, I just love pushing the buttons on elevators and crosswalk signals. Here, you should give it a try, sir. Go on, push it. The elevator is currently stopped on the first floor, detective. It can't move. Oh yeah, I guess nothing would happen if you push it now. Well, nothing would happen normally anyway without the special key card. Both the door to the attendance room and the elevator's control panels require a key card, which makes it impossible for a passenger to come down here. Yeah, I was under the impression, based on her wording, that it wasn't a minuscule amount. Keeping track of this many pieces of cargo must be very taxing on the cargo crew. It's a lot of bed sheets. This sure brings back memories of when I worked as a part-time mover, sir. By the look in his eyes, he's waiting for me to ask about the rest of the story. But no matter how he pours on the puppy eyes, I have no intention of doing so. I think we need to talk to Franziska and be like, yo, the fuck? You arrived at the scene of the crime before Detective Gumshoe, correct? And you then immediately began to direct the investigation. Seems to me that you were already here at this airport for something besides murder. Yes, I was. I've been following a very large and involved government-level international crime, but it's much too large for one person to take on alone, so it was decided that I should form a joint investigation with Interpol. Interpol's involved? It's a top secret operation, so I really can't tell you any more than I already have. I think we can safely conclude that these fragments are from a pair of glasses. And the victim was wearing a pair of broken glasses. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm sure that the shards would match up perfectly with the remnants of his glasses lenses. Ergo, the victim was here just as I suspected. So you're saying that the real scene of the crime was here, sir? Isn't that what I've been saying for a while now? Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Perhaps it's a bit early to draw that conclusion. However, I believe that the probability has just skyrocketed considerably. All that's left is to find the murder weapon. Now, why would Mr. Hicks have documents profiling Franziska? Oh, I know. I bet he's a big fan of Miss Von Karma, sir. Franziska said that she had come to this airport as part of an Interpol investigation. Oh, maybe Mr. Hicks had heard she was coming here and he followed her? Detective, I think it's more likely that Mr. Hicks was, in actuality, Interpol Agent Hicks. I think Franziska has some explaining to do. You came to this airport to rendezvous with the victim, didn't you? Nonsense! What are you talking about? I found a profile detailing information about you and the victim's luggage. I suppose it was prepared for him so that he could recognize you when he landed, which makes him not Mr. Hicks, but rather Interpol Agent Hicks. Isn't that correct? I should have known you'd figure it out, Miles. Wow, she didn't say Miles Edgeworth. But it looks like they got to him first. So he really did come here to receive an Interpol agent then? Yes. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large international smuggling ring. He went undercover to investigate this crime, and it was I who put him on this case. I was supposed to receive a call from him on his cell phone once he had landed. I never expected to receive a call about his murder instead. I think we now have pretty definitive evidence that Agent Hicks came down here to the cargo hold. Well, what was he doing down here, sir? There's nothing but luggage. Oh, I get it. Maybe he forgot something in his suitcase and came down to get it. Ow! Smuggling. Dude, fucking. Agent Hicks came here for a work-related reason, of that I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure he was here to investigate the smuggling operation he was observing. Franziska, do you know exactly how he intended to pursue his investigation? No, unfortunately I was going to find out from him after he landed. I see, but this raises another question. A normal passenger can't access the cargo hold on their own. Agent Hicks must have identified himself to a member of the crew and entered the cargo hold with that person who let him in. Yes, and then he was murdered here. These glass fragments and his broken glasses are a testament to that. Then, the killer put Agent Hicks into one of the spare suitcases and they entered the elevator, but while they were riding it up, the plane hit that patch of turbulence. Because of the intense shaking, the suitcase popped open and Agent Hicks' body flew out. At the same time, his wallet fell out of his pocket, spilling its contents everywhere, which explains why there was money scattered all over the elevator floor. Boom. I think it's pretty easy to say who the culprit is at this stage. What? Really, sir? I know what you're thinking, Miles Edgeworth, but the killer can be none other than Miss Road to Narrow. Oh, is her pun supposed to be Road to Nowhere? Road a 10 arrow. Oh, I see. Like a plane. We don't have to take the oath as long as we're not giving testimony. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks to the cargo hold. But the point to keep in mind is the keycard that allows the elevator to come down here. The only person with such high-level access is Miss Rhoda Tenero. I'd say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? Well, Rhoda, I don't know what the 10 is for, but arrow is airplane, aeroplane. Is aero Latin? A-E-R-O? I actually don't know what the origin of that word is. It's Greek. Yeah, I think he looks better here. I think the sprites here are really good. I know what she's trying to say, but I'm not certain it's as simple as that. Oh, she's actually on the cover of the magazine. That's pretty sweet.
Hold it!
It's highly likely that the keycard was stolen from Miss Tenero. It's highly likely? Is that possibility the best you can come up with when you call yourself a disciple of my father? I don't think I have ever heard him say those exact words. Who, Edgeworth? He definitely enjoys the smell of his own farts and moans when he wipes his ass. He reminds me of me. Yeah, it's weird. Her pride in him is strange. Yes, well, I don't have any evidence.
Be quiet, you're a disgrace. There's more evidence pointing to Miss Rhoda Tenero, you know. It's not just the keycard that gives her away.
Are you talking about the murder weapon, the Mr. iFly piggy bank?
Yes, she is also the only person with the key to open that display case.
Hold it!
But that is a fake.
Stop right there, Miles Edgeworth. You don't have any proof that this is just a red herring. You must keep insisting that it's a fake. Then what is the real murder weapon and where did it go? Speechless, I see. That's not a surprise. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed.
There must be a way. There must be something that can help me rule out the piggy bank as the murder weapon. What should be examined further to help us ascertain the authenticity of the weapon? Not the body, because you're gonna see that the body was hid. Piggy bank itself?
But the body, so I guess they might be able to show that the trauma happened after death as opposed to before. I didn't think about that.
Franziska, I think you were too quick to jump to your conclusions.
Oh, was I?
Yes, we don't even have the autopsy results yet. How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see if the wound on Agent Hicks's head is consistent with the murder weapon?
Scruffy.
Yes, sir.
Contact the medical examiner's office at once. I wish to hear the results of Agent Hicks's autopsy.
Aye, yes, sir.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know very little about that sort of thing.
We've got a big problem, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. What is it, detective? They're still doing the autopsy, but they say that they already know this one thing for sure.
Report now. The doc said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back.
From the victim's shoulder to his mid-back? He was beaten over such a wide area?
I guess maybe it's a sign that the killer had a grudge against Agent Hicks. It wasn't just his head. The killer went all out and hit him multiple times, sir. Scruffy, what is had a grudge against Agent Hicks supposed to mean?
Well, that's, was the wound on the victim's head consistent with the murder weapon, detective?
Oh, well, they say they were still looking into that, sir. You're completely useless. Yow!
Sir, I told you already, you can't go down there.
Oh, you move yourself in my way.
What is all that racket?
My luggage, my cargo, they're mine, let the man return them to me. We're still investigating the cargo hold. Please understand and have a little patience. But I suppose there's no choice. Finally, I think he get. Hey, what are you? You've left me no choice but to use strong force. Ah! You won't get past me.
Wait, that's it. So that's what this whole thing has been about.
Dude's about to break his neck, and Edgeworth's just like, I know what happened now.
Allegedly, the killer struck the victim many times over, which is why there is extensive bruising over such a wide area. Is that really the correct conclusion to draw from the evidence? The bruise from his shoulder to the middle of his back is one continuous mark, which is more suggestive of a single blow to the back. If that's the case, then the piggy bank is much too small to have caused that. Therefore, the murder weapon must be something far bigger. We're looking for a rather large weapon. You'd think it would stick out, but so far we haven't found anything that resembles a weapon of any sort. Perhaps, just perhaps, it's something we all overlooked from the very beginning, because normally it's too impossibly big to be taken in consideration.
What was that all about? Was he trying to jump his way down here?
Franziska.
What do you want?
I found it, Franziska. I found the real murder weapon.
You did? He really jumped.
We didn't realize it until now, but the answer has been right in front of us this whole time.
He might be hurt. We should check up on him, sirs. We're just sitting there like having this conversation. Who fucking cares about that dude? There's that pompous attitude of yours again. Hot call, kettle black. You should learn to drop that habit. Is she serious?
This coming from a prosecutor with the habit of whipping everyone she comes across and introducing herself as a prodigy.
Anyway, if you really are a prosecutor, then you'll back yourself up with evidence.
You two aren't listening at all, are you?
You can go do something about it, bruh. Come on then, show me this real murder weapon you speak of.
Possibly big. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to show you.
Foolish!
foolish reasoning for a foolish fool from a foolish fool meant to fool me. Wow, forgot about those. What do you mean by I don't have any evidence to show? Perhaps I should have phrased it as, that which caused Agent Hicks' death is incorporeal. Forgive me, but I do believe I have figured out what was the real cause of death. Is there any really difference between these two? I mean, I guess suffocation doesn't have to have. The victim fell from a great height and subsequently died as a result. In other words, the real cause of death is free falling to the ground. He
Fell to his death?
Yes, this is the only plausible possibility. The victim has extensive bruising on the back of his head and his back, his pussy and his crack. And the only rational explanation for these injuries is that he fell to his death. I'm such a fucking child from the early 2000s. Top 3 disappointing Game Grumps moments is when Dan made that reference and Aaron obviously had no idea what he was talking about. It's just like, no, that was supposed to be a funnier moment, but you're just like,
But the murder happened inside this plane.
I know.
Are you claiming that there is some place in this plane from which he could have fallen from?
As I said earlier, the answer has been right in front of us the entire time.
You can't mean...
Yes, I do. The victim fell from the top of the stairs of this very cargo hold.
What? Then, we're in trouble. We may have a second death on our hands, sirs. Hey you, tell me you aren't dead, pal.
Quiet, why are you screaming? He's alive. Oh, that's great. Yeah, just great.
And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. It's not possible that Agent Hicks fell over the railing to his death. That man is living proof of that.
I suppose it's true that it's not possible, given the current circumstances.
The current circumstances? What is that supposed to mean?
Suppose that large piece of cargo wasn't there at the time. What would have happened then?
He would have been aboard Ginny and Pancake for sure, sir. I suppose that man over there wouldn't still be breathing. But the reality is that cargo box is there. So there is no point in entertaining your wild hypothetical scenarios.
It may be there now, but there is no proof that it was always there.
As if there could have been a window of time where that giant box was not there.
But there was.
What?
I used to show that there was a possibility the box was not always where it is now.
Take that!
You refueled in the Republic of Zhangfa?
Yes, this flight had a short layover in Zhangfa in order to refuel. But that wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. What if the box in question was only transferred onto the plane at that time? To further prove my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question.
It's labeled Zhangfa Express.
Correct, meaning it was loaded onto the plane in Zhangfa. Now, what if the box in question was also loaded on at the same time?
It would mean that the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Europe to Zhangfa leg of the flight,
making a clear drop from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death entirely possible.
But your theory is still very far-fetched.
Then allow me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. My first order of business will be to examine that piece of cargo in more detail. You know, for the way he's running, he's not going very fast. This is a rather large piece of cargo.
There's a tag on it, sir. Let's see. Elf-Red statue? Never heard of it.
Alright, but all I care about is if we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime.
Let's get investigating, sir.
Don't
just rush up on me like that, pal.
Oh, this belongs to Mr. LeBlanc, does it? I should see what else I can find out from him. I take it that large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. LeBlanc?
Of course it's right. I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe. This elite-red statue is worth 10 million cents. No, maybe much, much more.
Mr. LeBlanc's reasoning for choosing this plane must have been the large cargo hold.
10 million cents?
I suggest you stop trying to calculate how many packets of noodles that makes, Detective.
Darn, how did you know that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year.
Though I grow with each revolution of the planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression he continues to madly sprint in place.
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, so that 10 million cents, is that in euros or in dollars?
Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, there is a chance that your cargo is related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer.
It's a very valuable piece of art, so no, there will be no touching.
No touching. No touching. No touching. Like, I'm showing him his valuable cargo. He's like,
oh, it's surely something valuable.
I mean, technically, I'm not even on the case.
I don't know how much power prosecutors would have when they're not, like, assigned. Like, say, versus what a cop can do, even if they're, like, not assigned a case, but they're around. Well, I should say, I don't know about prosecutors in Japan. I know if you were in the US, you couldn't look at his shit without a warrant as a prosecutor. Show him the badge. I'm gonna show you my badge.
You, I say you have the guts to show me a piece of art at this time, but from a single badge, I can already tell it is mostly worthless.
Huh, it says much more value as a piece of non-art, I assure you.
That's why you have something to say. Perhaps you are thinking, like testing pearls before swine.
You actually hit the nail on the head for once.
What ways? I'm going to see a priceless piece of cloth soiled.
I assure you it wasn't me. I believe it to be the work of the killer.
I will teach that killer a lesson. You be sure I will. It will be the Blanc Revolution.
I think you meant the LeBlanc Retribution, but either way, it sounds intimidating.
I could have finally paid me my wasted money.
Alright, but there is absolutely nothing inside this wallet.
Oh, there you go, to trick me. I was super fraud.
Mr. LeBlanc, are you seriously considering a courtroom tango with me? I hope not, but in case you are, there is a certain lawyer I can introduce you to. Okay, none of this has been helpful. Mr. LeBlanc has something to do with the smuggling ring, then it's possible this fake statue was brought on board in Changfa. I think I need to question him a bit further. About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc, I wonder if it might be a fake.
What? How dare you say my art's a fake?
I suspect that your statue might be the target of an international smuggling ring.
Don't say such fantastical things. Those thieves would not dare. I have the certification of my cargo right here.
You mean the cargo certification document? That's exactly what he fucking said.
Ooh. Oh, that didn't feel good. Oh, that did not feel good.
That had some bass to it, let me tell you that. Maybe talking like him is getting it all loosened up. Dude, the Borginians all have smuggling problems. Mr. Zinc LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say?
It said the plane says the cargo was put onto the plane in Europe.
And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. Too bad for you. This statue was brought on board in Europe just as it states in this certificate.
No, that's...
Which means that there was never a window of time in which the statue wasn't sitting there.
I respectfully disagree. We can't discount the theory until I see the statue for myself.
You have your wish. Looking at yourself and see I am right.
This... I know I've seen this somewhere before. This is the Alfred? It gives off such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it.
If this is high on historical value, after it was revealed at a museum in Europe, I brought it to this country to exhibit it.
I believe a closer look is warranted here. So this is the infamous Elif Red statue. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture. We should examine it in more detail. The eyes are different. These eyes are awfully orange, don't you think? And we all know how I feel about orange, don't we, detective? Yeah, and pretty shut the That's okay, I'll just slash his salary some more. And he won't be able to afford any oranges. They remind me of a sunset when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do, but it's really like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Ah, the memories. What, have you never seen a sunset since grade school? I remember when we had a sun. I remember standing out in that field, bidding with my arms out until I fell ill. I don't care about sunsets. Focus, detective. What color are the eyes in this photo? Huh? Ah, they're red. A much better color. As I thought, this statue was a fake. Mr. LeBlanc?
What do you want? I'm a busy bad. I'm not being too savage for your answer.
The leaf red? I suppose this is your pride and joy, is it not?
It's a leaf so we have this European trip. You wanted to possess this statue. The trigger started 17 years ago.
Better grab a chair, sir. Sounds like this is gonna be a long story. Mr. LeBlanc, I regret to inform you, and you have my heartfelt sympathy, but...
Wait, that sympathy for what?
You'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes.
That large blue there has very bright and pretty eyes compared to you.
I wasn't talking about the two of us.
He just says that with a straight face.
I mean, Detective Gunson's eyes are... I'd say they're better than yours. There's no one else you want from me.
I meant the eyes of the statue in front of us and the one in this photo.
Maybe there's oh! It's just a photo of the statue on display at the museum in Europe.
Alright, somebody needs to make sure he's not actually having a heart attack. How do you see Mr. LeBlanc? The statue before us is a fake. Oh god. I believe that even further examination will be required. Now that we have confirmed that this is indeed a fake, there must be some sort of proof that this was brought on board in Changfa. I will present to you evidence that will resolve the remaining contradiction. There's clearly a contradiction here.
What are you going on about? Just a simple case of a cargo covering getting stuck under another piece of cargo.
Ah, that's not possible! But it is. It shouldn't be this way, but the statue's on top of the cloth. Supposing that the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Changfa, there is no way that any part of it should wind up under something from Europe, which means that this fake statue was smuggled on board in Changfa.
But then what about the cargo certificate?
Let me ask in return, what about Agent Hicks? Why did he come down here in the middle of the flight? There is only one reason why, to secure proof of smuggling activity aboard this flight.
So you say, but I don't believe he had to do that mid-flight. We could have just as easily inspected all of the cargo after the plane landed.
That may be true, however, you have it backwards, Franziska. Sure, Agent Hicks could have waited until after the plane had landed, but he had a reason for coming down to the cargo hold. Suppose he had found the fake at the airport. It would have been after the swap had occurred. At that time, the suspicion would naturally fall onto the statue's owner, who would have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge, which means there is someone involved who is forging or modifying cargo certificates.
I like when Spittin' Facts just like blows someone against a wall. I guess the victim knew the real version of this was gonna get nabbed, huh?
Yes, well, this photo could be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir. It was in fact taken to be used as a reference document later on. Next, Agent Hicks had to secure proof that the smuggling had taken place. He came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold, a rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded on board.
A photo of the hold missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Changfa cargo crew and arrest the smuggler.
Exactly, this only goes to prove my theory. The statue was not in the cargo hold during the Europe-Changfa leg of the trip. There would have been enough height from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death.
Officer, move this statue immediately. I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath now. Miss Von Karma, I'm ready to report my findings. Go on. After moving the grid statue out of the way, we tested the area under it with luminol, and there was a reaction. I see, there was a reaction to luminol, an indication that there was blood in that spot.
Can we stop looking at it now, sirs?
It would seem that my deductions were correct after all.
I suppose it would appear that way.
The culprit cleaned the blood up well.
And how do you think the killer did that?
How did the killer clean up all of the blood?
Take that!
The killer used the bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess.
Yeah, I don't know how he would have done that. I guess him and Gumshoe, maybe? Gumshoe's pretty fucking strong.
I see. They had a need to clean up all the blood before the plane landed in Changfa.
Yes, because otherwise the cargo crew would have discovered it during the layover.
So you guys are saying that the murder happened before the plane landed in Changfa?
There is no other conceivable timeline for the events of the murder. If that is true, then that throws a certain person's testimony into doubt. If the murder occurred before we landed in Changfa, then this becomes highly suspect. Miss Mealy's, right? Recall Miss Mealy's testimony about Agent Hicks in regard to when we departed Changfa.
I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know.
She claims Agent Hicks was alive at the time of the service calls, but
that totally contradicts the facts, sir.
But why would she lie about something like that?
I think the only person who can answer that is Miss Mealy herself.
Oh yeah, chamomile, so it is meal. God, just don't add the fucking E to the end. That makes it confusing. Okay, that's seriously like a safety concern, isn't it?
Miss Meal? Miss Meal?
Huh? Completely forgot about her fucking shirt. Just a brief moment of stunned silence, like, oh, that's right. Apparently she likes sleeping on those things. Her head always fucking goes straight down.
You recall what you said earlier about when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Changfa?
Huh? No?
You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible, because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Changfa.
Oh?
Miss Cammy Meal.
Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did? Smile, grin, XD,
No one could make a mistake so large, Miss Meal.
But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time.
Ugh.
This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction.
Very well. Miss Meal, if you would please tell me about your alibi during that time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found.
Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? XD. Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self.
How was a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? That was me before I finally cut litigation out of my life.
Never thought I'd ever have to take naps in the office. Just had to take little power naps because I'd be fucking exhausted.
Miss Meal, wake up.
She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her.
I mean, not now. With words. With words. Press. Miss Meal, wake up.
I'm awake. Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you do something about this flight attendant this instant.
I asked me to wake her up when you can finally put that whip to an appropriate use. She might fucking murder her on accident. She uses the whip on her. If I remember correctly, food was being served in first class in the lounge between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah, but that kind of stuff's run by Miss Rhoda.
Sounds like everything's run by Miss Rhoda. Then what were you doing in the attendance room at that time?
Eating and then having a most delicious dream.
You mean you were neglecting your duties?
No way, sleeping's part of our job too, you know.
I love that this is fucking part of the testimony. Miss Meal, how many times do I have to repeat myself? Wake up.
I'm awake,
There we go. Oh, what the fuck did you whip me for, sir?
Oh, what did I miss?
A poor detective being on the receiving end of a lash in your stead.
Really? Sorry about that.
You can make amends for that by continuing with your testimony. So you were alone the entire time, were you?
Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say hi.
Oh, well, I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Miss Meal, there is a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony.
Huh? What are you talking about?
It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6 a.m.
Take that!
I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Meal.
Huh? A receipt? For what?
It's for the suitcase Miss Tenero bought, somehow, with that salary and that price tag. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m., Miss Tenero.
Yes? Huh? Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now.
I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Tenero, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in-flight shop, correct?
Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase, after which I went straight to the attendant's room to drop it off.
And did you see Miss Meal there at that time?
No.
So, Miss Meal, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Meal.
Huh? The bathroom? Question mark?
I'll be the one to ask the questions here.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know.
Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true.
But it's the truth. Cross my heart.
I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage.
You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew, but you think that maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know. If you ask me, that makes her super sus.
Please leave Miss Tenero out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now.
I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you've got your eye on Miss Rhoda.
Of course, I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I?
Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kind of
I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk. No, it's not the only reason I have for suspecting you. Your statements regarding Mr. Hicks also turned out to be a bunch of lies.
But say I wasn't in attendance, you wouldn't suspect me then, would you?
Yes, I suppose that's true enough.
Hold it!
He's already being detained for further questioning, or have you already forgotten?
Oh, yeah, I guess I just forgot.
Cammy, don't tell me you suspect me too.
Sorry, can't help it. I mean, other than you, there's no one else who could have done it.
I can't believe you would think that. I mean, me, a killer?
Miss Meal, what did you mean just now by no one else who could have done it?
Hold it!
And what are you in charge of, Miss Meal?
I take care of the attendance room.
That doesn't count.
Oh, but I spent so much time in there. It might as well be my responsibility.
Miss Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages, so she assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Borginian. She's the only one on this flight who is fluent.
Oh, you mean that kind of? What am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place?
What else could I have meant?
Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian.
She's fluent in Borginian. And I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian?
Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian.
Very interesting.
Hold it!
Actually, your on-the-job behavior makes you super sus in my eyes.
Huh, but why?
Well, Miss Tenero's busy with passengers and all of her other duties. You have a lot of free time on your hands, thus providing you with ample time to commit the crime.
Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you cease and desist in this line of conjectural questioning. I won't allow you to bluff your way through this like a certain defense lawyer.
But I do not honestly believe Miss Meal does any actual work aboard this flight.
Oh, that's not true, Mr. Edgeworth, although, well...
Hold it!
So what exactly do you do as the one in charge of some Borginian stuff?
I do stuff like translate things from and into Borginian.
Cammy's the only member of the crew who understands Borginian, Mr. Edgeworth.
Miss Meal, I take it then it is your job to process all the Borginian paperwork?
Yeah, see, I totally pull my weight around here. All 80 pounds of it.
So it would appear. Perhaps I should ask her for a few more details about her work, and... Miss Meal, it's very unladylike to push suspicion onto someone else.
Wow, that's fucking sexist. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying Miss Rhodes is very sus.
There you go again, pushing everything onto her.
I don't get what you're saying. It must be a really abstract concept, huh?
The only thing abstract here is the landscape inside your head.
Objection!
So you are the only one on this flight crew that speaks Borginian. Is that correct?
Huh? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Virginia for a while.
If that is the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Borginian is you, Miss Meal. Without your participation in the smuggling of the Aleph Reed... God, what the... Aleph Red. I keep switching the two sounds. It was you, okay? Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you. How dare you go to sleep while I'm pointing at you?
Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Whoa.
It's exactly as you say.
Are you confessing to having participated in the smuggling?
No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on that document. But you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There is no direct correlation, after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper.
Really? All you did was sign it?
I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So sorry about that.
Seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough fight.
Suppose, and this is just a supposition, even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that.
Objection!
If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring. And just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? For all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes.
Did you just blow bubbles? Well, so perhaps there is some element of a setup in play in this case.
What are you talking about?
Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you, I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it's Miss Tenero who is under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can.
You have no proof that Rhoda is being set up or that she isn't.
Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all the blame for the crime onto her, and this evidence will prove my suspicions. This proves that the killer was out to frame Miss Tenero from the very beginning. the suitcase itself because of its involvement, but I thought the suitcase wasn't involved until later. The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? Wow, look at that face. See, the reasoning for using the suitcase to pin it on Rhoda makes sense, but what's confusing about the way the game presents it is that they make it seem like there was an idea to frame her before the murder had even happened. Like they were planning it from the start. But he's making it seem like it was a decision that was made later. Maybe not. That's why I wasn't thinking of the suitcase initially. I was trying to think further back than that. If they knew they were going to murder him, then they probably would have had the cleanup plan right away too, knowing that the suitcases would be in the cargo hold. Yeah, that makes sense. The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Ternero for the murder. Miss Ternero buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. Again, how are we just accepting this as truth? Those things cost $1,200, which means she has to basically make at least $1,200 a flight just to be able to continue affording them. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body? That would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too. I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. What special circumstance dictated the need for the killer to frame someone? The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age, so no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss Ternero or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Miss Ternero or myself, but you, Miss Cammy Meal. Only you and you alone could be the killer.
Yawn and... Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyways, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence.
Yep, that's true. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred. I have no definitive evidence. Isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? This is what you said earlier, and you misled me. Something that I still can't quite fit into the big picture. I don't have any actual evidence.
I thought not.
But that's because it went missing and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I kept getting stuck on, and that is the victim's cell phone. Franziska, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks' cell phone, or at least that's what you told me. That's right, but Agent Hicks' cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean the killer took the phone with them? Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer.
Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well?
We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Franziska, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Oh God. If this is how they get tripped up because they didn't turn the phone off, I am going to be furious. Of course I do. Oh my fucking God, Agent Hicks' phone, it's ringing somewhere, sir. Why the fuck would they leave it on? What a bunch of morons. Or a moron, or moron specifically.
I hear it, Detective. Now where is it coming from?
The ring is coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. Damn, probably dropped it in the suitcase to frame what's-her-fuck or the locker.
I wonder if it might be inside this suitcase.
I don't hear any sounds coming from inside, sir.
I don't suppose the culprit would have been so dumb as to try the same trick twice.
I mean, it's fucking better than leaving the goddamn phone on. The ring's coming from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. This has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir?
It's Miss Tenero's.
What?
So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone?
I found it in the flight attendant's room in Miss Tenero's locker.
What? But
Rhoda Tenero.
I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, isn't it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenero right away.
Wait, I have a theory this is related to the incident with the key card. When the killer went to steal the key card, they conveniently snatched the cell phone in Miss Tenero's locker at the same time.
This is related to the key card, alright? The same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. Ugh. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. This is the one bird we cannot ignore.
What should I do? Franziska's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? Must have something very incriminating on or in it.
Hold it!
What now, Miles Edgeworth?
It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone.
What?
Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. The LCD is broken. On a screen, you can't even place a call with this. Ah, it's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of a smuggler? Franziska, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures? Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir.
This looks like a very similar model to my own, and mine can take photos just fine.
Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case? If so, I'd say there may be some very inconvenient photos in here for our killer smuggler.
The phone's all busted up, sir.
Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone.
I'll find a way, don't you worry about that.
Yawn. May I go back to sleep now?
The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data.
What?
What do you mean by that, Franziska?
Looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. The phone still rang when I called it, meaning only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone.
Franziska, your phone if you please.
Very well. Transferring. Alright, displaying it now.
This is...
Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for a smuggling case. Hey, the Leaf Red's nowhere in this pic, sir.
This has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of preposterous for him to ask that question. Like, Edward's the fucking grandfather, and Francis is like,
Don't worry, Grandpa, I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to open a PDF.
ouch, he's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir.
Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo that we can use?
The fact that all the suitcases are here in this photo is odd.
Agent Hicks was still alive at the time, so what exactly is so odd about the suitcases that haven't been used yet being here?
Yes, well, I was only pointing to things that are different between now and then.
Your off-topic ramblings have put this attendant to sleep yet again, Miles Edgeworth.
He heard a rude awakening with deafening objection and a contradiction. Boxes of bed sheets, these are still in the cargo hold. Nothing unusual about them in particular, but I can't shake the feeling.
If you're just playing around, mind if I go home?
Yes, I might. I need to focus on what's different now from back then. I mean, this is different. There's an entirely different set of shit here, right? What's all this? Oh, yeah, the car was shipped from Virginia to Chengfa. The reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Chengfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me the contents of the boxes? Unfortunately, there is no English written on them anywhere.
One collector of boxes is written Virginian. It says, man bending over, musical note, scissors, leaf, jellyfish, man running. It is cloth in English.
Cloth? Could it be? This were the killer.
What? What for that scary face?
Miss Meal.
Yes?
It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all. A striking piece that will point out who this killer is. Ha!
Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth.
The Borginian cargo in this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. Oh! Oh, because she got the cloth from the Borginian cargo. That makes sense.
And what is that supposed to prove?
The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they had spilled. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? Now I finally found my answer in this very photo. Cargo that was unloaded in Zhengfa had cloth written on it. In Borginian, that is. This is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean up the blood with. Yeah, especially since they mentioned the cloth, what, 10 minutes ago? God, dunce. That's right, the killer was someone who could read and understand Borginian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Cammy Meal.
That's pretty flimsy.
The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use.
When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Virginian.
Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature.
What
There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. The killer supposedly could not comprehend Borginian. Well then, logically the killer would have opened this box first. Hey, it says bed sheets in English right on the box, sir. Precisely, and bed sheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't you say? So what are you trying to say? And if I were the criminal, this box of bed sheets would have been what I would have spotted first.
However, the killer chose to use some Borginian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that?
The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold. They were afraid to leave signs that the box for the sheets had been opened. However, the Borginian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color.
Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Chengfa?
That's right, that is why the Borginian cloth was used. The only Borginian reader on board who could make such a calculated decision is you, Cammy, you and you alone. Ugh, that bearing gonna help you, bruh. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we'd have to do is contact the Chengfa authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So what do you say, Miss Meal? Why not confess your crime here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Chengfa?
I choose to wait.
Because why the fuck would I just confess that?
Ooh, no!
That was a hell of a sign of defeat there. Jeez. It was fucking crazy. That and the fucking seizure strobe.
He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble. I
Became Alpha 5, apparently. Finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir. Very good, Detective. What about the smuggling route? Did you say anything about that? They're taking her down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we even approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. He probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. Looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah, it was. Like, once you meet her, you're like, because you know it's not LeBlanc. It's not Miss Tenero. Like, that would have been weird for her to actually be the murderer. And then you have, what, nobody else?
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much.
It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation.
But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation.
I'm good, but thanks.
I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it.
No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well.
Yeah, it's a paperweight.
And remember, we here at iFly Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth.
Thank you, I'll keep that in mind.
I must bid you farewell. May all of your skies be blue no matter where you go.
That's kind of a sweet thing to say to somebody. Never heard that before. I liked Cammy though. Cammy was a fun villain, even if the case itself was like meh. That last part was good. I got completely stumped on that. I think that's the first time that the game stumped me like that. That's probably the first time I've been stumped since Trials and Tribulations. I don't remember if I got stumped like that in Apollo Justice at all. I don't think so. I got stumped in trying to figure out where we were supposed to fucking go in those flashbacks. Can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy, was it fun. Speak for yourself. My day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Franziska? Oh, she's filling out some customs paperwork for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma is always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. Franziska?
I thought I told you when you first landed I have no time for idle chatter.
I have no intention of wasting your time. However, it has been a while since we last met.
I have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Just who do you think I am?
You are Franziska von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect.
Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing Pierrot, living her life on the name and fame her invincible father built.
True, your father, Manfred von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, he's fucking dead, probably. Or the fact that he lost. I mean, take your pick. The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture.
Sounds like a dangerous assignment.
You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself.
Yes, I suppose you can.
Plus, there is another agent on this case with me.
Oh, another agent?
He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows, you may even run into him one day.
I was simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths.
I suppose. I doubt he would say the same.
I'm not following you.
You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back in full.
And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness. I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch out for her whip. Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation.
Aw, it was nothing, sir. Just happy to be able to work with you again. Ho ho! I think I'm gonna celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight.
Just how much did you cut his salary by, Franziska? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office.
Sure thing, sir. I can fly down the road in the patrol car if you want.
Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first.
Edgeworth drives the speed limit confirmed.
Thus, I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Carmel, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play, and the players on the other side of this war, they would begin to make themselves known through the next incident. Edgeworth speaking. Finally, I called who knows how many times earlier, but I couldn't get through. And you are? Have you forgotten my voice?
Miles, my boy. Wait, who is this?
Mr. Armano? Ernest Armano, correct?
Ah, so you do remember me.
I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. Been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped.
Am I supposed to know who the fuck this is? Yeah, he does probably drive 5 miles per hour under the limit. He's that dude that pisses me the fuck off.
Franziska's sprites look good, I think.
I need a voice. I need a voice for
Ernesto Armando. Is that Ernesto Armando?
Amano, that's right. It's just Armando rolls off the tongue so much better than Amano.
Oh, I liked Mia way more than Tenero.
Tenero was just kind of basic.
She wasn't bad, she was just basic.
Yeah, she's just nice. I guess that's the most you can say about her, which isn't a lot. It's something, but it's not a lot. I once heard someone argue that calling someone nice is literally the most lazy, unimpactful, generic, default, insubstantial compliment you could ever pay someone. Kind of like Maggie, but worse. Yeah. Mia's fan service, even like taking the fan service side, she was way more of an interesting character than Tenero was. See, the cube hair is a peg down for me. That shit was awful.